Hey all, J-Man here. I just wanted to tell you about beardedshirts.com. It's a great place to get a lot of cool superhero shirts and other merchandise. You can scroll, they've always got sales on. As you can see, they've got these really cool print all over shirts, which I really love. That's Eddie, the founder of the site. And if you're looking for stuff, all you got to do is you click on the search here and you can type in all over. And that's going to show you the all over prints, which are really, really cool. Look at that. You got Legion of Superheroes, you got Brave and the Bold, you got JSA, you got Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all kinds of stuff. So check out beardedshirts.com. Hey guys, J-Man here. Before we begin the live stream today, I just want to let everybody know that channel memberships are active, and I only have one tier right now, and that's the Super Friends tier. It is a recurring payment every month, but it does help support me and the channel. And right now I'm offering all of my Super Friends access to my personal G Drive. So this is where I keep a lot of the comic books that I review for the channel and that I do for the live streams. So if you do join, I'll give you access to my G Drive so you can actually get the comics and read along with me or read them in advance. Batman and the Outsiders is on there. That's the full run. That's right there. Got volume 1 of Jack Kirby's Black Panther. That's actually his entire run too. Frank Miller's Sin City, Green Arrow, Uncanny X-Men. I also take requests. A few of my super friends wanted some D&D modules, which I actually was able to provide for them as well. So there you go. It's only we have only just the one tier. So if you decide to join, I'd really appreciate it. If not, that's totally fine. I know not everyone can become a member of every channel, and I appreciate that. So it's great to have you guys on right now, and just liking the videos, supporting me that way, subscribing, sharing the videos, all that stuff is really helpful. So I really appreciate it. That's it, guys. Let's get on with the live stream. Hey guys, welcome to Days of High Adventure. This is every Sunday, or mostly every Sunday, where we talk about a really cool movie that needs more love. We're talking about 3 today, Darkman, all 3 Darkman movies. I own them all. I forgot them. They're all in the other room, and I'm not going to go get them, but I got the Darkman 4K, is great. And I've got the other 2 on Blu-ray. Had them on VHS, had Darkman 1 on, I think I had 1 and 2 on VHS. And then I had them all on DVD, and then now 4K and Blu-ray. So there you go. There's a lot going on this week. Starting on Monday, Sean and I are back for the Legion live stream. This has been going every Monday for 80 weeks. This is the 81st episode. There's only 3 left. 83 is the final one. So the last of the Legion, guys. This is it. So that's tomorrow. Wednesday. Do you need a reason to join the Action Elites YouTube channel? Do you need one reason to subscribe? Well, I'm going to give you 2 reasons to subscribe, and that's going to be these 2 reasons for this Wednesday's live stream, which is Barb Wire. So you got 2 reasons right there to make sure that you're subscribed to the Action Elite Live. And there is a 99% chance that Pamela Anderson will not be joining us on that night. However, I will be there with a lot of the panels, a lot of the guests that you're going to see tonight. That is on Wednesday. Friday, the final episode of Batman and the Outsiders. This has been an amazing few weeks here. It's just been 6 episodes, but they've been fantastic. This has been a great series. I might have to get this in physical form. It's been great doing this stream with RR. Sean and I have had a great time going through those comics. 1 week from today, Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze. That is 1 week from today with special guest Scott Tracy Griffin. He has confirmed he will be here next week. He is a Doc Savage expert. He actually has all of the original Doc Savage pulps, and that's massive. That's like kind of insane. So great. We're going to look forward to have him on next week. Let's thank the Super Friends, Dan, Sean, Stephen, Brennan, Mark D, RR, Philip Story, S182, Digger Jim, Quagnar, Legion of Comics, and Just Joe. And of course, we always thank Clobberin Times, Mike Alonso. He definitely liked Darkman Part 1 for sure. I don't know. We never really talked about Part 2 and 3. So I'm not sure if he liked 2 and 3. But he probably didn't. Let's face the facts. He probably didn't like them. But I like them. So we're going to thank Clobberin Times anyway, just because he's a good friend of the channel. We miss him. So there you go. All right, let's start bringing the boys in so we can get her done. Already here. Why am I clicking you? There we go. Sean is who we want. I'm so used to going in order. Yeah. There, I'm in, and now Sean's in. Now Steven is in. And then we've got
well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Ross, man, I brought you into Mr. Fancy Pants. Okay. And I'm gonna bring in Charlie with my favorite. There you go. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Let's say hello to everybody who's back here. My goodness, there's so many people. FK, thanks, buddy, for being here, man. You're first. Looks like April 28th is the next election.
Yes.
The only person who's going to know about that is Sean. Well, Sean and Steve will know about that. I don't know. They'll tell me who to vote for, and I'll vote for
Jason
that.
Doesn't watch the news, so yeah.
But I do vote. I do vote though. I use the online. I'm going to Gemini this year. Hey Gemini, who should I vote for? And then it'll tell me who should vote for whatever. Dan, Super Friend, the original Super Friend, day one, biggest supporter. You would love to join. You watch all three. Okay, so I sent you a link, buddy. If you're there, come on in. Jay Lucian is here. You love Darkman, yes, and you love Jonah Hex as well, and so do I. I also love Jonah Hex. I actually have the entire shit. I've got a lot of, ever since they did those miniseries of Jonah Hex. I have all those miniseries and every Jonah Hex comic that came out after that. Like literally, I literally have all of them. All of All-Star Western relaunch, New 52. I know it's New 52. Yeah. I have all that, and I have Jonah Hex. Man, I was like a huge Jonah Hex guy. Number 2 is very good. 3 is excellent. Yes, I really liked part 3. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be good. Joe Dog is here. Thanks, buddy. The things you hate in most TV places in movies, TV shows is playing the news for exposition. Okay. I mean, sometimes at work. Oh, you're at work. Okay, dude. If you can't do it, you can't do it. The backseaters here. Hey, backseater. I watched some of your videos. I saw you were making fun of the shills. That's always fun. He came from the Forbidden Frontier, from Neurotic. Awesome. He's not talking about Darkman. Like, come on. Lark Bark is here. Love this movie. Incredible. Underrated. Big time. Yes, it's 10 out of 10. It's awesome. Darkman sounds like the name of a character 13-year-old kid would create after a bad day at school. He wants to play a monster. Yeah, well, he kind of does. He's a monster.
I'm Darkman.
I'm Darkman.
You're going to call me Darkman from now on.
Yes. At least he says, at least I was gonna say in the Batman, he calls himself Vengeance. I remember in the theater, I'm like, but that's not who you are. I'm Vengeance. It's like, no, you're supposed to say I'm Batman. Everybody says I'm Batman. That's the thing. You're supposed to say I'm Batman. Everyone says it. George Clooney said it in a comic-y way. What's his name? Christian Bale said it in Batman Begins. He's like, I'm Batman. You have to say the line. He didn't say it. I think we watched Darkman. We were in the universe. It could be. Yes. Checked it out 2 and 3 last week. They were great. Yes. Some ways 3 might be your favorite. Part 3 is actually very good. Alex Page won't be able to join. That's a page 2 bet she won't be able to join. Who are we? Oh, Pamela Anderson. Yeah, she won't be. No, there's a 99% chance. There's still a chance that she would join.
1%.
Hail. Kudos. Never had a chance to read the Darkman comic books. Neither have I. They looked pretty cool, though. Just made a video riffing on a video arguing about Spider-Man should be. Yep. Well, that Spider-Man cartoon is poop. That new one. It's one of your favorite 90s films. Awesome. Good. All right. Darkman. So this is the one where my mom had come back. I told this story last time. My mom had come back from the theater. I don't know what movie she had watched. And she came back. She's like, oh, Jason, there's going to be this movie that you're going to go want to see. And I said, well, what is it? And she was saying, she's like, she's like, it's called Darkman, or I think she thought it was called Who is Darkman or something. Cause remember it said, who is Darkman, right? Mm-hmm. So she said to me, who is Darkman? I said, I don't know who that character is. That sounds like that's like a fake character. I'm like, I don't know this guy. And I wasn't sure if it was like a pulp character or something, cause I didn't really know, everything. And I still don't know everything, obviously, but like I was like, no, I don't know who Darkman is. She's like, well, it's this thing, and it's Liam Neeson, and it's like, and then like he gets like killed, and he gets powers and stuff. He can like turn into guys or something. I was like, well, shit, this sounds like I'm watching it. I was like, I think even she knew. She's like, you're gonna love this movie, I guarantee. And I did. And I have a Darkman connection because I have the poster of Army of Darkness, the original one sheet of Army of Darkness, and it says from the director of Darkman across the top. It's weird to think that Army of Darkness was sold on the fact that it's the director of Darkman, which is really neat. And I've had that poster like forever. So obviously, I think everybody saw Darkman in the theater. We'll go around. We'll do them in order. Because I only saw Darkman 3 this week, first time. So I owned it on DVD, not VHS, and I never watched. I thought I'd watched it and didn't like it, and I remember thinking 2 was like, yeah, it was okay, and that was just my memory of it. And then I was like, well, let's watch it. So I put it on. I was like, what, Jeff Fahey and like Roxanne Dawson? I was like, what the shit? It's like Balana's in this. Like you got, I was like, hey, and then you started saying, it's like, I'm like, I never saw that. Or if I saw it, I completely erased it from my mind. But I didn't recognize any part of it. So I was like, no, I never saw this movie. So we'll talk about that. But I mean, Darkman 1, saw that in the theater. I mean, it was just like the friggin' craziest movie because it's all of Sam Raimi's wacky angles and all that stuff and all of his style and the overlays and all the Sam Raimi-isms with the music and everything. It's the Sam Raimi-isms, but applied to a superhero kind of guy. And he's got no pain. He's got extra strength. He can turn into different guys. Like he can make the skin and all of that. I'm like, wow, this is so awesome. Like it's all of these cool things in one kind of character. And I remember thinking he looks like kind of like a shadow guy or something. I wasn't sure if he was a fake hero or not. Like, and I meant fake as in it's not a comic book or something. It was just its own creation. And I remember thinking, wow, this movie is so awesome. And I must have watched it 4 million times. The pink elephant.
Yeah.
Became one of our things. My buddy Jay, he would always be like, I want the pink elephant. And we always loved that part. And like, him going crazy. And they added the whole, like, he's also insane, which is kind of neat. So I love this, of course, like immediately when it came out, bought it on VHS, watched it, a million times, bought it on DVD, bought it on Blu-ray, bought it on 4K. This is one of these forever buys, right? It's like I just keep re-getting it no matter what. I actually cannot think of one negative point. Charlie and I were discussing privately, just back and forth, a couple of texts, and it's like, I mean, I literally cannot think of even a negative point at all. Like you could say, some of the effects now looks like, oh, that's, blue screen or whatever. But I mean, that would be just like being a dick, right? Like, it's rear, hey, that's rear projection, eh? Like, oh, is it?
We were never meant to see the defects in that, okay? We were meant to see it on VHS at home. That's how we were meant to see it.
Yeah, the 4K tells no lies.
Exactly.
Blu-ray Star Trek. You look at their communicators, you look at their phasers, they're terrible. It's like the phaser's a black block of wood or something, and you're like, that
like a
is
bar of soap.
In
the background.
It's like, that's not, I was like, that's nothing. That looks like a kid's toy. All right. Sean, did you see this? Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw this in the theater. My mom took me to see this.
Nice.
And she liked it because I remember her laughing at the pink elephant thing when the three of them screamed like oh, and then she started laughing.
It's all the same way. It's like he's like losing his mind.
And the sewer death where she
Purist is here.
But yeah, no, I love Darkman. I remember that the trailers for this that it looked awesome, and like you, Jay, man, I didn't know if it was like a comic guy or not. I did get the Marvel adaptation of it, I think it was a 3-issue series, and also the big black and white one.
Mm-hmm.
I never got the ongoing series. I now want to search it out. It came out, I think, 2 years before part 2. But the ongoing series, I think, is like 8 issues or something like that. It's another Marvel comic.
Yeah, I can loan it to you.
It's got like a brand new story, so I wouldn't mind reading those. And I think there's a Dynamite comic thing, but I've
There
never.
was, I think there was a Dynamite comic. And there's Darkman meets Army of Darkness. There's like a lot of they did the whole IP mashups and everything.
Yeah,
like Big Trouble in Little China was part of that. And
Sure.
They were just picking all kinds of different ones.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, and I was disappointed that they didn't go further with this. When part 2 came out, we'll get to part 2, but when part 2 came out, I was excited about that. That's a whole other discussion, and we'll get to that. But yeah, I always thought this was just a big underrated thing. At the time, I wasn't following trends, so I didn't know if it was a hit or not, or what was going on. I think it was deemed profitable, but not enough to make a theatrical sequel, and that's
right.
Yeah, so
14 million budget, 49
anyone
million.
our age loved it, so it was hitting that demographic. So, like I bought all the comics and stuff, so I don't know what they wanted from me, but yeah.
Siskel and Ebert both gave it 2 big thumbs up. I just watched the review the other night. They were loving it. They're like, "Oh, the direction is good, and he's kind of a neat character." And they added a layer of depth with him just being kind of insane as well. It wasn't just like standard, and it wasn't him just like in going out. It wasn't just like a standard revenge. Like, okay, now he's gonna get revenge on each guy and take them all out.
One other thing after our last stream about the Shadow and how this came off of a pitch for that movie. Right. I can't unsee that now. the fedora and the laughter, like haha, like that's totally the radio show. Like so, and the disguising and all that stuff. It's totally the Shadow. But anyway, it's great.
Yeah. Let's say hi to Star Wars Marvel purist. I put his link up for you guys. Just watch Darkman with the family. That movie is sick. Yeah, it's great. That is a great family movie. They teach them how to. It talks about shenanigans at carnivals, and those guys always lie. He's like, your foot was behind the line. They never want. They do not want you to win a prize. Nope. Like desperate. And I remember my grandfather being catching on right away to these things. He's like, they don't want you to win. I'd be like, I can do it. He's like, you can't win on this. He goes like, whatever you want, I'll buy it. He goes, you want that toy? I'll just buy it at the
I will buy you elephant. You want the elephant? I'll give you purple elephant.
I'll buy it. Yeah. You can't win on these. I was like, no, there's a chance you can win. He taught me all the bullshit. Yeah, you can't win on these.
I won just quickly. I won a giant like turtle. It's like about almost 4 feet or something like that. What? And so I won that in a target practice day. I still have the target because I was like, I can't believe I got this. It was like right in the middle.
Nice.
But now it's at my parents' house and we're trying to clean out the house. And I'm like, I don't know how to throw this out. Like, how do you throw out a giant turtle like this?
You don't throw it out. That's insane.
Yeah.
Crunchy is here. He loves Spider-Man 2 more. I definitely love Spider-Man 2 more.
Right behind your head back there. Just hang the turtle.
The turtle. I think everyone here would. Well, I'm not sure about our bottom panelists, but definitely top row would say Spider-Man 2, the movie, is a better movie to Darkman. I love Spider-Man 2. That's like one of the best superhero movies.
A fair comparison.
Yeah,
it's not really fair.
It's not really a fair comparison.
I'd say Darkman's a tighter movie.
That's true.
And Spider-Man 2.
I agree with that.
I love Spider-Man 2, but come on.
Spider-Man 2 has a stacked cast as well.
It's also stacked.
It also cost like 10 times more, but.
Another check mark to the unfair column.
Yeah, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's still.
Yeah.
So there's your 14 mil budget, 49 mil box office. That's good.
That's not bad.
We wanted 100 million, I think.
Well, listen, what do you want, man?
Well,
you want in one hand,
you have a
man in the other. Which one do you get first?
We're talking about this backstage. You know what everybody wants? 5-disc Dust Devil. That's what everybody wants.
I do. I didn't even know it existed till today.
Who's got 2 thumbs in the 5-disc version of Dust Devil?
Who's got hardware on his T-shirt right now?
Okay, mine's in the mail.
It's in the mail.
Charlie lives in the good old US of A, and I live in Canada, which they get to us last. They're like, the Canadians aren't going to complain. They're not going to email customer service. They're not going to call us. We'll ship theirs. As soon as they see the shipping manifest, like Canada, I'll put it to the bottom. It's like, they'd like send it to because you could see Charlie is going to be a complainer. Where's my friggin' hardware?
I haven't been waiting on this for like 6 months. That, this is insane.
Oh my God. Ever since I missed out on hardware Blu-ray, I've been dreading my life. And I was like, my life has no meaning. I didn't get the Blu-ray because I had the Blu-ray and I took the DVD because I didn't have a Blu-ray player yet. And I didn't think in advance, right? And I've been dreading that decision. Then when the 4K came out, I was like, this is the blessing that I've been waiting for.
Must do. And you get the Blu-ray with it. So you're completed all the way around, full circle. Yep.
And now I'm laughing at all those losers who got the Blu-ray. All right, Steven. So I guarantee you went. Was this a family affair at the Steven residence?
My dad saw it first. He only watched a handful of movies without either me or my mom. Mm-hmm. And occasionally it was so good that he said, "You have to go see this movie, and I'll go again." And this was one of them. It was only two. It was this and FX were the only two.
Oh, that's a great movie. We're gonna do. We gotta do both. We gotta do FX and FX2, The Deadly Art of Illusion. We gotta do both those.
I haven't watched those in forever. I remember watching them.
So he came home and he was gushing about Darkman, and he's like, "You have to go see it." And I'm like, "Well, I was at that age now where I wasn't paying for my own movie, so I'm like, well, if you're paying, I'm going." Right. Basically his I was at his mercy until I could afford my own, to go on my own. So yeah, he took me, and yeah, it was like everyone says, it's a 5-star movie. It's awesome. Rewatching it this week for the stream, man, every time I get so pissed off when they attack that lab and they just do all that. I'm like, this is going way too far. I'm like, this is like one of the worst. Like, I'm furious by it. I'm like, Darkman needs to kill everyone. Like, this is just awful, right? And then like he's so clever about it, and I'm like, I this is one where I want it a little more R. I want a little bit more blood. I want a little bit more torture. Yeah,
that's
exactly what I want. All of it, like what he does to Paulie, where he sort of, he's very manipulative, and he buys the tickets and that. It's all well and good, but I sort of want Paulie. I wasn't happy till Paulie took that dive out of the window. Then I was happy. So, like it was an awesome film, and I'm one of those guys who, like, if I like it, then it's a success. Like, I don't really pay attention to the box office at all,
right?
And I didn't necessarily need a second one or anything like that. I was very happy with how this finished. I was like, okay, this is an adventure, and this is how it's going to go, and that's that. And it was a sad sort of story to me, because at the end, he's got to walk away from the woman he loves and the life he wanted, because he can't. He doesn't have that ability to make the skin last past 99 minutes. When I think about this movie and like the success of movies, and I'll talk about this a bit more later, but it's one of those movies where the hero can't get what he wants, because if he gets what he wants, then there's no continuation. Like, if he actually figures out a way around it, there is no more Darkman, so he can't get what he wants.
Right. If he solves the 99-minute problem, then he'll just be Peyton all the time, and exactly. Then that'll be it. He's not Darkman anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So stuff like the Incredible Hulk or the Fugitive, they can never solve. They can never solve all that. But it is a terrific movie, and it sort of shows that Raimi. It's an early Raimi can do something other than horror movie. Because up until then, he did horror movies, basically, right? Or Crime Wave, which
is technically a horror movie too.
Yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah, I'd throw that as a yeah.
The other problem. I mean, he could solve the skin thing all he wants, but he's still insane.
Yes.
So he still can't be with the woman he wants to be with.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, I thought they were going to solve that in the third one, and we'll talk about that later. But like, it just. It's sort of it's never going to get past the tragedy. And that's really the thing about this movie that makes it both great and sort of depressing.
Right.
So that's my take on Darkman.
All right, Charlie, did you see it in the theater?
I didn't. I was only 10, so there was no going to the theater to see this. I was probably about 13 before Dad introduced me to it. But I knew about Darkman because, like you guys are saying, it actually had a pretty good marketing campaign about who is Darkman. I remember those posters up in the mall and everything. The Marvel Comics, I have the big giant size magazine one that Sean was talking about. And I also played the hell out of Darkman, the NES game.
Oh, yeah.
And I would rent that all the time. Hard as shit. I think I just kept renting it because I liked the fact it's the only thing of Darkman I could get a hold of that wasn't a comic. Yeah. But finally watched it. Dad, immediately we loved it because it was a Sam Raimi, because we're huge fans of Army of Darkness. I watched Army of Darkness before I ever even knew about Evil Dead.
Me too. I saw that before Evil Dead movies. Yeah.
So, I got to go backwards, which was awesome.
I went backwards in actual backwards, then 2, then 1.
Yep. And then, we watched Darkman, and I'm like J-Man. I have owned almost every iteration of this. I watched this movie a lot. Like, this is one of my background comfort movies of just throwing it on. I know I could have, if we weren't doing all three, I probably could have done without watching it. But I was like, well, I'm going to watch all three in a row. Actually, it's what I did all day today. There's just 1, 2, and 3. But I have always loved this movie. We'll get into it later with part 2 and part 3, but it might be equal with one of those sequels as far as out of the movies. As far as for me, because I'll agree with Steven, I wanted more blood. If you're going to make it an R-rated superhero-esque kind of movie, I want some gore in it, and they kind of do that later. But the feel of the Universal monsters, which this was done by Universal, so a little bit of leeway going. They're not going to bitch if it looks a little too much like the Invisible Man, or you're going to use a lab that looks like Dr. Frankenstein's lab. So you're okay. And then the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
it's all of them in one.
All of them.
It's an amalgam of every character plus. Like Sean said, I can no longer watch this without thinking of the Shadow. I just see it. The parts where he's like, they're doing the Phantom when he's doing the half face, but I see the Shadow now. I go, yep, he's got the hat on. He's hiding in the corners. Totally feels like I'm watching a Shadow movie. That
he's got himself the Phantom of the Opera coat.
Yep.
Yeah. Which would have been great, but you throw that fedora on, and it's a whole nother character.
Yeah, and his powers are basically the Avenger too. So
right. So it really makes me wish, even though I love Darkman, and had he got to do Shadow, we probably never would have got Darkman. But I'm also kind of like, fuck, I kind of want to see what Raimi would have done with the Shadow. Could he have gone as dark as he did with Darkman? No pun intended. But could he have gone that darker route, like more violence, more everything, or would he had to have kept it along the PG-13 line that they had to do with the Baldwin? I don't know. We may never know, but we got the Darkman and 2 and 3 and comics and a video game. I call it a success. It's one of my favorite franchises.
Yep. All right, Ross, man, you saw it in the theater, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to be the dick here, but
that's why I wasn't sure, so I threw. That's why you're at the end.
All right. Well, so I mean, I do love it. It's just not.
Everyone's turned their thing on. They're like, they can't be. They're like, I'm done with you. This is like 12 Angry Men when that guy's talking. Everyone got up and moved. And when Ed Begley Sr. gets up, everyone gets up.
I mean, I'm gonna say I have more nice things to say about it than not. It's just that. So I did see it in the theater. I saw it, and I was older than all of you as usual. I will always be that. And so my brother and I were like, by this point, my brother and I were like, we were always really into Oingo Boingo. So like almost any movie that Danny Elfman scored, we were there to see. And also, my brother loved. We both loved Evil Dead 2, but he really loved Evil Dead 2. So I don't think did Army of Darkness come out before or after this one?
No, it's after, because my poster says from the director of Darkman, unless like
no,
it's
no,
like
you're right. Yeah. So this was like his second or third movie. There was like this little window in there when it must have been after Army of Darkness or something, where he was like, "Oh, I'm done doing genre movies. I'm going to do Field of Dreams, and I'm going to do all these like drama movies," and that's where it's at these days. And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
This is the crazy J Man is here. Thanks, crazy.
Yeah, sure, bro. Yeah. Crazy, amazing J Man.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, and I was kind of already starting to get into like the pulp characters and all that. So I was like, this looks like everything I love. It's a director I love. It's a soundtrack I love. And weirdly enough, when I was working at the bookstore, we had a customer come in who, through conversation, it turns out he had worked on movies, and he was the storyboard artist for Darkman. So he was telling me all kinds of. I'd asked him about it, and he told me all kinds of stuff about it before I saw it, because he wore the T-shirt. He had the T-shirt on. So anyway, so I was in it to win it, and the score was like everything I wanted it to be. I was like taking film classes, and like the cinematography with like all the extreme angles and the swooshes and the storytelling, absolutely fantastic. Liam Neeson wasn't really like a big star at that time, so like I barely remembered that he was Darkman in the first one, really. But man, what a great batshit! People forget how batshit crazy he was in that movie. You know, he's like, he's like this, like, you know, kind of like, they remember him being like the sedate Jedi in the Star Wars movies, and they remember him like being the in control,
like
agent.
from Taken and stuff like that. I will find you.
The 200th remake of Taken, where he plays the same character. It's kind of like, okay, they remember him being like a, you know, in control badass and all that.
Right.
But this was like unhinged, you know, and he's dancing around. I'm a freak. And they start playing the circus music. That was great stuff. My problem with it starts to happen around the time. Can we do spoilers?
I'm pretty sure.
Everybody's seen this like more than once, right?
I think I got in trouble. My Daredevil episode, Born Again episode 1. The first words out of my mouth for my review was like, "Foggy Nelson is dead. Karen's been written out. This show is trash." And a few people were like, "Spoiler alert!" I was like, "Stop whining, you losers! It's what would I spoil?" It's like
you're sparing them from sitting.
I'm sparing them. The guy died in the first 5 minutes. It's not a spoiler.
Why are you watching this video before you watch the show?
Exactly. I mean, you know you're going to watch it, so just watch it.
Just watch it. Exactly. All right, spoiler away.
Your opinion. You're either going to watch it or you're not. So my problem with the movie, like, and the other thing is, like, one of the highlights of it is, well, two highlights. One is, did you guys you watched Xena Warrior Princess and or Hercules, but especially
Xena all there.
Yeah,
they're all there. Okay, so at the time that came out, not a lot of people, but people within the movie industry were watching those Hong Kong movies. And so there are bits in Xena Warrior Princess that, like the fight with Callisto on the ladder and
she's
things
awesome,
like that are like right out of Once Upon a Time. Like you can
Once Upon a Time in China. That is from
Once Upon a Time in China. There's like a Tai Chi master reference in one of when they build that like enclosure and have that fight in there. So they were just like straight up lifting shit out of there. So they were very hip to the Hong Kong thing. And like that opening scene with Durant in the warehouse when the guys are coming out on the motorcycles and everything.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Hard Boiled came out before this movie did, but
Hard Boiled's like 88 or 89.
Somebody saw Hard Boiled or Hard Boiled or John Woo saw this movie. They were like borrowing from each other or something, because that was a very John Woo-y kind of reference right there. But the guy who plays Durant, Larry Drake, was such a great villain that one of my problems with the movie is, like, once he gets blown up, like 20 minutes before the main villain gets blown up, the movie starts to like deflate a little bit, because who cares about the real estate guy? Yeah, the guy was a dick, but Larry Drake was so good. Like, and Larry Drake might be the nicest guy in the world, but you just look at that guy and you hate him, like from the first, just the way he carries him. I don't know what it is, just the way he carries himself.
He's Dr. Giggles and terrified a generation.
Yeah, but apparently he was like a nice, like he was known for being a nice guy on one of those.
Was it L.A. Law?
L.A. Law.
Yeah, he's in one of those.
Yeah, he was on one of those legal shows.
And he swept the Emmys for years.
Well, and he played not to be insensitive, but he played a mentally challenged character throughout that.
Yeah,
that's why it was shocking to me when he was Durant. Because I only knew him as Benny. So when I watched this, I was like, oh crap! Like he had me believing he was really mentally, handicapped. Right. So when I watched him, I was like, holy crap! This guy's great. This guy's a great actor.
He was such a great villain in that whole thing, and the way he played the comedy with still being sinister and threatening, he was great. Mm-hmm. So my thing was like, the main villain was weak, the real estate guy, and then that whole bit where he's like hanging off the helicopter thing, where he's hanging off the thing. I appreciate that was like an amazing bit of stunt work for the stunt people who did that thing, but it would have been more shadowy or at least more horror monstery if he had been more of a visceral kind of character, like he's basically hanging on for his dear life and being a victim while he's being dragged through the air on that helicopter, and then the whole thing at the end, he's when he's on the skyscraper, I would have liked to have seen him like kick some more ass instead of get his ass kicked and
I can see that.
And the fakiness, by that point, the fakiness of the whole skyscraper scene bothered me at the time, because I saw that on the big screen, and it really there's some things like I get it's 2025 and we're living in a world of AI and perfect digital effects, and from the Phantom Menace forward, like if you can imagine it can look 100% real on screen. Right. So when I go back and watch an old 90s movie and it's like, some of the effects weren't great, but that never looked good.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought it looked awesome. I was like, wow, this is great.
Not even in an Army of Darkness. Like there were parts of it that like never looked good, but you went with it. Like the stop motion when his hands turn gnarly, and and like stuff in Army of Darkness with the stop motion and the skeletons and stuff like that.
I love
that was part of the cheapo aesthetic of it, which was fine. But like that whole, to make that your whole fight at the end of the movie, the climax at the end of the movie, and have that not great looking fight on the skyscraper, I was like, I just wish it had been like a really cool knockdown drag out between those two guys where he's just like not feeling pain and getting stabbed and shot, and go for it instead of that cartoonishness that they kind of lapsed into.
So, I think what it felt like was a lot of studio going, hey, you're supposed to be making us an action movie.
Yeah.
And that's the helicopter sequence. And so that ending is also very RoboCop. Like RoboCop killed off one of the greatest villains in 80s action movie history.
Yes.
And Darkman does it too. And now we have to fight the executive and throw him off of a high-rise building. So
and it's also the same problem with Dredd too. But like the second one, the thing. But the thing is, so that's why I'm not calling it like 10 out of 10, but it's a solid like 7 out of 10 for me. So. But the other thing too, so I did look up some stuff on Wikipedia. And because I'm always curious, and so there was apparently the version that snuck out in the theaters. The studio tried to recut it. There was like the Raimi cut. The studio tried to cut it. Raimi like basically stole it and then re-edited it, and got it out in the theaters. Yeah. The studio was like pissed off that he snuck that version out. but it made enough money that they're like, okay, you know, you're just not making any.
This happened with Army of Darkness, right? Where everyone got, like, you know, except for America, which got the Hail to the King, but that's the one I've seen a million times. They all got the I slept too long, right? They got the I slept too long, which actually the Dark Horse comic actually has the I slept too long because it came out and you're like, wait a minute, that didn't
that's how they
happen
were able to continue it. Like, it made sense for them in the comic to be able to continue after that one.
Right.
But I read that even the editor had like a mental breakdown
Yeah.
because of all of that going on.
Yeah, it was a lot for him. So
Raimi has had a really hard time with this. That's why I was surprised he got Spider-Man, because he's notoriously had a bad time with the studio, starting with Crime Wave, where basically they took the movie off him and he sort of, you know, dusted his hands off of it. And then if you think about Evil Dead 2, that movie wouldn't have been made without Stephen King, because there was that crew member who was driving, and she told Stephen King about, you know, she's driving for Evil Dead 2. She's going for that production. And then they didn't have the money, and Stephen King actually threw his weight behind it to get Evil Dead 2 made. And then Army of Darkness, we know about that. Like, so Darkman, the fact that it you know, he did what he did, I'm not surprised, because by that point he was so burned by the studio so many times that he just
I think Sam Raimi, though, is one of these guys. The problem is I think, like, I don't want to say it's like the studio is 100% idiotic, because Sam Raimi is one of those guys who's a little bit of a, like, this will be funny and good. Yeah, it's like it's almost like he tanks his own movie. Like in Army of Darkness, and I've listened to the commentary as many times as I've watched the movie, like where he says he's like, I wanted to come back and have Ash cowering in the corner, you know, like during that fight and everything. I'm like, I don't think that's good. Like,
no.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like
good.
Yeah, like, see, Sam Raimi has this thing where he wants to make this movie and then he'll just throw in all it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if it's all goofy at the end and then he's an idiot? I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't work for this movie. The problem is, right, so it's like you can't always trust the guy 100%, at least in that phase of his career. I think he matured once he started getting in. I think, like, so Ross, man, what you're saying with the before the you know, the before Sam Raimi, or what do you want to pick? The game, what was that movie called? The baseball movie, The Game, or
For the Love of the Game?
Love for the Love of the Game. So you could say the before Love of the Game and then the after Love of the Game. It's like he matured a bit, where it's like, okay, I have to work with studios and I have to work with scripts and I have to make sure that this makes sense for an audience who isn't me, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, so
he's comfortable with all. He's comfortable by saying, like, oh, I'll just have a bunch of goofy characters, and oh, look, it's like, you know, and he loves Shemp, you know, like he loves making fun of stuff, and it's like, let's throw Three Stooges into, you know, like, the Simple Plan. Let's have Three Stooges stuff in Simple Plan. It's like, no, that's gonna be weird. Like, why is that happening?
And most people to this day don't get the Klaatu Barada Nikto
exactly.
The thing is, like, when he started out with those two Evil Dead movies, he was still kind of like a punk rock dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to side with him because he loves all the same shit that we love. Yeah. And he's clearly dumping all of it into his movies, but he doesn't seem to have a filter. And so, like, I'm glad he didn't get The Shadow, because it needed, like, even though The Shadow's, like, flawed too, I liked the slick, classy movie that we did get. Like, the parts of it that work really well, and that's like, there's like a 20 minutes in there that's like, that's the freaking Shadow that from the comics and the books and everything.
I agree with that
I want to see. But, like, Sam Raimi was like too freaking punk rock, and like, he would have just gone into Raimi world. And then like Army of Darkness, like we said, as much as we all love it, that's the hardest sell. Like if I was to bring in like some millennials or some normies to have like a Evil Dead-a-thon, that would be the hardest sell of the three, because the second one stands alone as a cool horror movie that's still scary. And then that one, they start doing Three Stooges stuff and the little ashes and all that kind of stuff. And then the same thing happened with the Spider-Man trilogy. I heard that he got like mad at the studio because he didn't want to have like two villains, and
he didn't want any of that.
And Danny Elfman said, like, he doesn't even know what happened to Sam Raimi, but he didn't want to work with him anymore, and quit. And so Sam Raimi just like stole like previous bits of music from that Danny Elfman had composed for it, and that Spider-Man 3. I mean, pardon me for being a dick for not liking everything, but that is a piece of garbage because I couldn't. I fucking hate that movie, not because it's that bad, but because the same people who made two of the arguably best super pre-MCU Marvel movies made that thing, and it was like aggressively late seeded with crap that was like meant to make you hate the movie.
Yeah, no, that's not his. That one's not his fault because they want Venom. Like the studios,
Venom.
But there's stuff. I mean, there's stuff. Well, I mean, that I could talk about that one for another 3 hours.
We could do a different thing on Spider-Man.
No.
I won't never be mad about the version of Sandman.
My point is that's. I mean, if we could just all kind of agree that that's the least loved of the Spider-Man movies.
Oh hell yeah! I don't think that's a debate to be had.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. So, but yeah, the thing with that one is definitely the studio because see that once you start getting into Marvel and stuff, that's a different conversation. If we go back to like his before people are like when he was still somewhat in charge, even with Army of Darkness, that's where Darkman, he's starting to lose a little bit, right? Because now it's like, well, now it's Universal. They're watching Army of Darkness like, wait, this hero who we're following along is such an idiot at the end that he can't count the number of drops, and now he's like in the future and everything's destroyed and that's the ending. I'm like, no, that's like not happening. Well, that's what happened because Ash is an idiot. It's like, but we invested in this. I don't like the I slept too long ending. And I like the Hail to the King ending. It's super awesome. And I want him to win at the end because, and the other thing is I saw Army of Darkness before I saw the Evil Dead movies. I didn't know it was Evil Dead 3. I just saw it and I just said, okay, there's a 2-minute beginning where it's like, oh, I went to this cabin, all this shit happened. I'm like, okay, that's a lot. I was like, that's a lot in a 2-minute sequence. I'm like, okay,
they
sure.
should make a movie about that for
I got an idea. Make a movie on that. Make a prequel. So
he had the laser disc for Armies of Darkness, the Japanese laser disc. Do you know what they called it in Japan?
Yeah, Captain Supermarket or whatever it was. Yeah, so anyway, so I watched that movie, and it was awesome. And then I watched Evil Dead 2, and I'm like, okay, the ending of Evil Dead 2, he falls, and everyone super hates him. I know everyone super loves him, and they're like, yeah. And he's like, no, I'm not the guy. They're like, yeah, hail. And then the next movie, they're throwing him into the pit. I'm like, okay, so that doesn't continue. Then I watched Evil Dead 1. I'm like, wait a minute, what the shit? He's dead. He's either dead or possessed or what's going on. And then the beginning of Evil Dead 2, it's the first half an hour of Evil Dead 2 is just Evil Dead 1, but removing the other characters, and it's just him and the girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't. And then Bruce Campbell asks Sam Raimi, he's like, do you think if someone spliced the ends and beginnings, they can mesh? He's like, of course they can. It's like, I'm sorry, Sam, you watched the movies you made, right? They can't do that. You would need to re-edit everything. You'd have to, you could keep part 1, but you would lose 40 minutes of part 2 because you'd have to remove the entire ending of part 2 and the entire beginning of part 2 to mesh those together. I actually attempted it once to see like, okay, when it's like, and it goes to his face, cut there and then continue from him flipping through the trees and spinning around and getting possessed. And you could start it from that point, but you would lose that entire beginning sequence, and then you'd have to cut it. As soon as it gets sucked through, you basically have to cut off that entire thing and then just use Army of Darkness.
Isn't there a supercut floating around? Someone did that on YouTube?
I'm sure someone did, and you could do it. But yeah, like studio coming in and saying, look, dude, like you can't have this guy end this way. This is kind of crazy. Now, it would have been a crazy movie, but lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store is like my favorite line of all. It's just like, I love that. You're asking this woman to leave. It's like she's a demon.
The other thing too is my brother was like the super fan for Evil Dead 2, and so I'd seen it like a couple of times.
Yeah,
and then there was like especially as the stuff's coming out in real time, it might have been like probably a year or two, or since between me the last time I saw Evil Dead 2, and then when Army of Darkness came out, and I was like, I didn't remember him being like such a dick, such an arrogant dick, and such a clown in the first 2 Evil Dead movies.
Right.
He completely changed his character for comedic purposes. Now, don't get me wrong. everything he says is hilarious and quotable, but it's essentially like a new character when he's
right.
in Army of Darkness.
Every version's a reboot of a reboot of a reboot. Let's just keep
rebooting
Ash
they did the same
keeps
thing
going.
with the mariachi movies, to be fair. So
I agree. Yeah. I like Desperado the best to me, and I actually really like Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I like the first El Mariachi. I thought, that was okay. I saw that I had it on VHS. They talked it up, and I watched. I thought this was a very cool movie. And then Desperado, I saw that in the theater. I was like, oh man, this is bad.
Way so much better.
Salma Hayek too. I mean,
it's got Salma Hayek. And then I saw Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I thought this was really good too. And that's the Mexican and the Mexicant, which is like the best line. Are you a Mexican or a Mexican? All right, let's talk about Darkman 2.
Before we do, can I just a couple of things on Darkman?
Sure. Yeah.
So, talking about it being chewed up. So the movie did have so Bruce Campbell talked about Darkman in his book because he did the
he is Darkman.
He's Shemp at the end.
Oh yeah.
He talked about doing the the voices and that. And he said, this was one of the things where he really disagreed with the audience because the audience, they do test screenings and then they give their comments. Mm-hmm. Well, they had a scene in the movie where the main villain, the real estate guy, he actually is naked and he has a bunch of money on his bed and he gets in and he starts to roll around,
hump the money or whatever.
Scrooge McDuck, right? You think about it like that. And Bruce Campbell always loved that scene because he said, this gave a little bit more meat to the character that he doesn't care about anything but money and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But because he was naked in that, the audience was like, oh, he's naked, I'm uncomfortable. So they removed it. And he was actually he said that really took something away from that character by doing that.
Well, naked. I mean, they could have put him Speedos on him or something.
Yeah, they could have had him in underwear or something.
I don't know.
That would have been funny.
So it's interesting. And then the other thing is going back to what, Rossman is saying is that the movie, they take a chance because like I said, that lab thing is so brutal and it's so over the top. They're not doing it just to get the memorandum. They're going to hurt him. They torture him beyond what you need to do. Yeah. That you take a chance that the rest of the movie, the revenge is going to be worthwhile, that I'm going to stick around. Because I think it's possible that there's some people who would watch that and be like, I'm out. I can't see this. It is absolutely brutal when I rewatch it. I'm like, God, this is like watching someone, his entire being stripped of him. So,
well, not to mention the lab assistant.
The lab assistant,
ventilate him, please, Rick. And it's like, holy shit! They just shot him point blank right there.
Yeah, but they you're right, Charlie. But they shoved the plastic over him first. They were torturing him before they just shot him. These are really sadistic bastards. There is not enough that they could do in this movie to get back at them for what they did to him. There just isn't.
Yeah. I mean, did we lose Ross?
I think he's just got his cameras off.
No,
his cameras off. Yeah,
I think we may have lost him though. Anyways, yeah, they get him pretty good, and you're definitely it's all the Sam Raimi stuff. The Ted Raimi's in there.
Yeah,
doing the zoom ins, all that stuff is in there, so it's really neat. I've seen those FK. Yeah, those are some cool posters. I always wanted the Darkman poster. I actually don't have it. I can get it if I want to, whenever I want from the poster warehouse over here. But I always thought the poster was really good. It's neat. It's like the guy, this is kind of the one that we all know.
That's the one we all know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did the steel book like this. So this was the first poster. I didn't take the steel book. I actually took the regular 4K because I liked the normal poster better. And I know they did this for the collector's edition, but I don't like that. This is the real this is the poster.
That's the preferable.
That's the one we all know.
That's the DVD case.
Yeah.
All
right. So Darkman 2, Slurpee cups from the 70s for sure.
Electric.
Ross, you back?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, we lost you there for a bit. All right.
I'm fighting a cold, so sorry.
Oh, understandable.
Darkman 2, the return of Durant. I love how it's like named after Durant coming back, because that's like the big draw now.
Look how big his head is in the background too.
Okay, so I liked Durant. I thought he was awesome. I really wasn't in the now that he's dead, the movie kind of went down. That didn't really happen for me. I thought, well, he's dead and that's it. Like I thought he was really cool, but I didn't think he was like General Zod or something for me if I was thinking of villains at the time. Like I thought, yeah, he's a cool villain. I like the supernatural looking people. So if we don't have a supernatural looking cool villain, then I don't care about them that much. Like to me, Durant and yeah, real estate guy, now as an adult, obviously Durant is cooler because of his, he cuts the fingers off and he's a neat character. He's a better character than that guy. But back then I'm like, they're equally whatever to me. Like Darkman is the best. Like I like Shiwan Khan because, he was a cool guy in armor that has the same powers as the Shadow. That's cool. Like that's how I used to think of things. So one of my pet peeves for the Hulk TV series, for even $6 Million Man, which I still love. I don't know, any of these shows like Spider-Man, even the Red Browns, Captain America's, all of that stuff. It's like, where are the villains? Like to me, the Batman 66 show was clearly the super mega on top best, obviously, because it's like, look, it's the Riddler. And it's not like there's the garbage interpretation Riddler. It's like, no, that's the real Riddler. Holy crap, this is the best show. That's the real Joker. He's walking around, he's crazy, he's like doing crazy shit, he's laughing, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then when you want, even now, I've been reviewing every Wonder Woman episode. I've seen Wonder Woman a million times over. The best Wonder Woman's is when there's someone from space, guys come from space, and you're like, yeah, because a lot of these episodes of Wonder Woman, it's really just Agent Carter, or Agent Carter, Agent Diana Prince. Like it could just be Agent Prince stopping. It's like she doesn't even need to turn into Wonder Woman half the time. It's like you could just defeat these guys, right? So when I'm looking at Darkman, to me, Darkman is the best. Everyone else is just whatever. Now, as an adult, obviously Larry Drake is super pumped and like he's eating up the scenery and he's like so awesome. But as a kid, I didn't think that. I just thought, okay, that guy's dead, whatever. Like, who cares? So now coming back and saying, well, now it's the return of Durant. Even as an adult, though, I don't like that. I like Darkman 2, and I'll leave it as saying I like Darkman 2. I'm not dying over it. I like, it's okay. I don't want Durant back because he's just a regular guy. I want a new villain. See, now part 2 is here. So now I'm thinking I want everything from part 1, but now we're going to get a new, cooler villain because we now learn the origin and now we can get the pumped up villains, right? It's like we didn't really get, like, I thought it would have been cool if they had done something. Like, remember in Crow City of Angels, that guy got the Crow powers. Right. And I was like, oh shit, that guy got the Crow powers. That's cool, right? Like, I love City of Angels. We'll have to do the Crow one time. I love City of Angels because he got the powers. And then part 3, I was like, it's just regular people again. It's like, like I want it to be a comic book, right? So I still like Darkman 2. It's a cool movie. I watched it again. I got the Blu-ray.
Right.
It's neat. Durant is awesome, obviously. Arnold Vosloo, we can do a round table on what we thought of him. But I mean, I liked him. If you can't get Liam Neeson back, I thought he was really good. He's a big guy. I pretty much liked what was going on, but I'm just not dying over it that much.
Well, to your point, going back to the Wikipedia thing, apparently this one was actually filmed last.
Yep.
Like the one that the Darkman, the third Darkman, which has the guys who get the shot that give them superpowers. That would have been the second. That was going to be the second movie.
And when we get to Darkman 3, I really like Darkman 3. Okay, I was like, shit, this is awesome. This is what I'm talking about. Get these guys with power. So he has how to fight guys.
Yeah, well, so to me, a lot of these, I mean, just an overview. So then I don't want to go too deep into it. So we can everybody can go into specifics. But like, it seems like a lot of lost opportunities because you did have guys that got the Darkman shot or the Darkman-ish powers, and Durant, when he comes back, it's like this guy survived an explosion and a fiery explosion in a helicopter.
Yeah, he's
just
fine.
kind of like lying on a bed. You would think like maybe he would be all scarred up and would want.
That's what I thought. Like he's back and now he's like the anti-Darkman.
On him, he just like wakes up and he's like, "I'm back," and it's like, okay, So it is a lot of missed opportunities. And even though it's like, oh, cool, he's back, it's kind of like the more discount version of him as well. By the nature of it being a direct-to-video movie and other things like that, which we can talk about. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of like things about it that like I grade them. I can't give these. I wouldn't give these 10 out of 10 just because there were parts of it that it looked like they were ready to do, and they just didn't go there. There was like all these missed opportunities. Like if there was like no way that they could have done X, Y, or Z or whatever, I'd be like, well, but it's like, no, it was on the plate and they just didn't like take the swing, So
then you got Gabrielle in this one, and
yeah.
All right, so Sean, Darkman 2. So these were all direct to video. I remember going into the video store and seeing Darkman 2 and being like, holy shit, Darkman 2, what happened? Like when did this when did this come out, and why do I not own this movie, and why is this not available anywhere? And I remember thinking like, what is this?
So that's a big part of Darkman 2. So I used to read. So we had a TV Guide here, of course, but my TV Guide was the Star Week, which was with the Saturday Star, Toronto Star, and I read that. It's a TV Guide, but also they have articles about what's going on in the industry and stuff. And I read that every week, cover to cover. And when Darkman 2 was coming out, there's a big article in there about studios shifting more to straight-to-video sequels of major motion pictures. It happened the year before with Aladdin. Aladdin 2 came out, I think, 94 or something like that. And that shook everyone's like, oh, crap, are they all just going to be, that's today's
Sean?
Anyway.
Oh, you know, I was going to say, Sean better know this.
I love today's special.
Okay, what's the name of the guy in the hat?
Jeff.
Oh yes,
and that's Jodie.
Good job.
All right, she died.
Is that the guy from Dexter's Midnight Runners or something, or what?
I don't know. He's a mannequin. Stop it, Ross. Everybody knows he's a mannequin. When you put his hat on, he comes to life. Everybody knows.
Nobody knows it. I don't think it was aired in the States. I'm not sure.
Is this some Canadian?
We got it. It was like on PBS or something, re-syndicated. Yeah.
All right, continue on, Sean. Star Week, yes.
Star Week, yeah. So they talked about how, in terms of live action productions, this is probably the first, like a straight to video sequel of a major motion picture from a studio. Because I know Universal did this again with Species 2, I think. And then everybody did it. It's like, Hellraiser Inferno and all that stuff. It's like you could probably thank this movie for that. The part of the problem was, as I said, Universal wanted to do something with Darkman, but they didn't feel, their bean counters were like, I don't know, we can't really justify a big sequel to this. I mean, we made a profit, but it wasn't like a lot, right? But straight to video, maybe, and they tried to do a TV series. I think Renaissance Films or whatever. And out of Darkman and Mantis was the one that went to, and it was a brand new concept.
I love Mantis though.
Was the winner of
Mantis
that.
was
Mantis
great.
is cool.
Yeah,
didn't you send us the link to the pilot, J-Man?
Sean did, yeah.
Sean did that link, to check out.
Okay.
And it's fun, whatever. But then they made this movie. So there's this big thing like, oh, will studios do this? Like it's historic. Like what? So I'm like, oh my god, I gotta rent this. So
see, why didn't they get this guy for Mantis back? Because instead he played Isaiah Bradley. They could have had him as Mantis. That would have been badass. Old Mantis.
99% of the audience wouldn't know what Mantis is. So but when I watched it, I was keen because of all this hype. I was keenly aware that this is not a major studio budget. This is a video budget. So I was impressed that they came up with that train mobile thing that he has. It looks kind of crappy, but at least it's something,
It's neat. I thought it was neat to get to his headquarters.
The little pads like tell you, there's a train incoming and all that stuff, right? That was cool. They don't really do a lot with it. There's a little chase, but like whatever. I'm with you, J-Man. I thought that he would be the anti-Darkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like he came from an accident. Instead, it's very Silver Age. Like he teams up with a mad scientist that has a ray gun, and it's like
that's cool.
And he's the ultimate mad scientist. He just looks like a mad scientist. He's like, and he's like, oh yeah, I got this ray gun, and the ray gun sucks. It's like it takes so long to do anything.
It's very Croft Super Show the way that laser.
It's vertical beam, but like it expands something very, very, very slowly, and then it's like video distortion, and then the guy blows up or whatever.
Right. Well, going back to the train, this you can tell that this was probably the second, like made after the Darkman 3. Yeah. Because in Darkman 3, they show him like getting on the thing and turning it on and kind of fussing with it and like
they sell it more,
working it for the first time. And then this one, he's just like jumps on it and he's like going down the train track on that.
They reused the whole segment. It's just edited differently.
Yeah, right. Like that's all edited up a little more. And
part 2 is reused from part 3 because of the way it was originally intended to come out.
Right.
Yeah,
it's so weird once you know that in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so I watched these just normal, like again this week.
Yeah, Arnold Vosloo. Arnold Vosloo. To me, I feel like Hollywood failed him because I think he's really good. Like he's charming. Mm-hmm. He's super handsome. He's a big dude. He could have been a great Dracula. I don't know why no one built a production around him. He sounds like Dracula, so it's like what the hell. He's great. I thought he was really cool. It's like, and I thought it was funny they had to reshoot the some of the show
stuff
from the part 1. Yes,
with him. Yeah. It's like I guess you gotta do the Vosloo. You gotta Voslooize it.
Voslooize it. Yes, good job.
Sam Raimi was like, "I've done this before, guys. Trust me, it'll work." And that's exactly what it was.
I've always liked this. J-Man, I don't know if you remember, we went to your friend Sean's place to watch number 2s, like sequel 2s.
Yes, you're right. We did a 2. Yes, we did 2.
And he was doing this big giveaway, and he gave me a choice. It was like Darkman 2 or some other thing. I can't remember. And I was like, oh, Darkman 2, man. Yeah. So I got the DVD of it from him.
You still have that one? That's great.
I still have it, of course. Yeah. I always like this. I don't know, like I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. You guys saying like you don't like it that much. I thought it was pretty cool. It's just the problem is, I feel like there's missed opportunity with 3 as well. But I think that I appreciate the comic bookness of it. But I appreciate what they were trying to do with a limited budget. But ultimately, I like all this stuff. They do it in all 3 movies where like he's someone else. Like they at least kept that gimmick and didn't play it down. Like just because I feel like the pilot showed him more as the sort of hamburger face all the time because it's just cool. But I like when he's disguised and then people are confused, like, oh my god, like what's going on? That's me and all that. I love all that stuff. And what I'll say for all 3 movies, I love the actors playing the Darkman versions of themselves. I think it works all the time. I love it. At the end of part 1, where that one guy is like a great shot, and he goes like he looks down, and he looks back up, and he has that maniacal like smile. All those guys are great. Anyone who's in a Darkman movie has come to play because they want to play their version and want to play the Darkman version, right?
Yeah. So, do I get to be Peyton as Darkman? It's like as myself. It's like
part 3 is great, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it. I don't know.
I said the same thing. I said I liked it. That's as far as
I like it. It's like a what's his name? Larry Drake was a big star at the time, so they had to get him back somehow. And people like this performance. But the thing is, it's like they could have done a lot more with it. It would have been cool if he were an anti-Darkman. That would be great.
It's so like. Yeah, I liked Laser Gun, Mad Scientist. Like, yes, awesome. That's all good stuff. I wanted him. I like Darkman going out proactively stopping crimes. He's a hero. That's cool. I just wanted because Durant's back, and it's just like, okay, I'm back, and then it just continues on. I'm like, well, I thought you like at least something where he can't feel pain anymore, or maybe his skin. It's like, how did you survive? It's like, oh, there's some chemical reaction, and now my skin heals fast. So if I get cut, it heals. Like comic book it. Like comic it up, guys. Like this is laser gun. So somebody thought laser gun, and when we get to 3, they had. I mean, whether I'm not saying if they used those guys properly or not.
Well, they
like
did anyway.
They didn't.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that the thought was there. The thought was there to do 90s, that.
Right. This isn't 90s network TV where they're terrified of using the supervillain for their superhero show.
Yeah, they never had any villains. Like how could you have? How could you
watched every freaking episode of Shazam, waiting for Dr. Clobberin to show up, and there's always teenagers who are like passed over into the field where the do not disturb sign was or something, and then you have to like airlift them out of there or something.
I mean, except for the Batman 66 show, none of these shows really ever. And I know $6 Million Man it had a couple of guys, but I would have liked to have seen more. Like, when Carr comes in, with Knight Rider and stuff, you're like, this is the best because it's Carr. It's like you need to have another. Like, I wish they had done something with the General Lee where there was like a black one with like a red 02 or a 13 on it or something. I was like,
I'll just take this.
We can get into that, but there is a reverse Dukes of Hazzard one from the fake Duke brothers.
From the coin dance one. I haven't seen that in a long time. I own it all, so I'll definitely watch that again.
Yeah,
okay.
There's an episode with the fake Dukes. Yeah.
This is one thing. On Disney Plus, they have all the Herbies except for the one that starred Bruce Campbell. And it was a TV one, and in that one there was an evil Herbie called
yes,
and it was like an all black one, and it shot bombs out the back of it. It was pretty.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I wanted evil Benji. I wanted like the white beauty instead of the black beauty. I wanted like all of the.
Free Willy is actually a killer whale.
I want like Free Freddy or something. And then there's like a Freddy and a Willy.
Hello, Willy. Like,
everybody who was around at the time distinctly remembers Mark Hamill as the villain in the Flash, because that was like
the trickster.
Trickster,
that was the first time in one of those big network superhero TV shows that they had a villain played by a star and treated it like it was a real thing.
Well, they had Captain Cold in that as well, and they had what's his name, the Blue Flash.
Superboy had a lot of villains.
Superboy had a lot of villains.
No one ever talks about Superboy.
Yes.
So
it had everybody in there.
But that was also one of the. That was Superboy before or after the Flash? Because the Flash was the one that was
definitely before for sure.
Flash is the one that just kind of got everyone like, oh wait, we can actually do this on network television at prime time.
Yeah, because it was prime time. Because like the afternoon shows were kind of like whatever, they could be sort of nutty.
Yeah. But, all right, Steve, Darkman 2.
I saw it this week. I never watched the movie. I was in the movie store and I saw this on the shelf and it said Return of Durant. I'm like, that's bullshit, and I just never watched it.
What do you think about it now? Still bullshit.
He couldn't return.
Spicy.
No, I'm like, he died in a fiery helicopter crash. What the hell? Why does he look fine on the cover? That's bullshit. So I'm like, I'm not watching it. So I watched it this week. It's like he's in a coma. He's in his jammies, and then he looks all good. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought would happen.
Yeah.
And of course,
that air raft he was lying on had healing powers, apparently.
Yeah. Well, he has a scar on his head, and he needs a cane to walk. And I'm like, okay, that's it. All right. And the movie's fine. I like Arnold Vosloo. I had a thing for Renee O'Connor when she was Gabrielle. I actually liked her more than Xena, believe it or not, when I was watching it. So
I don't believe you. No.
I was actually invested into the Joxer Gabrielle relationship, and I brought it up to Ted Raimi when I saw him last year. I'm like, hey, do you ever think Joxer should have ended up with Gabrielle? And he's like, hell no. He's like, Joxer's an idiot. Why would you want that? Okay. This thing is fine, but it doesn't offer us anything. It's just, I think you guys already talked about it. It's like Larry Durant is just doing Durant. He's just back into crime and he's doing his own thing. And, he happens to cross paths with Darkman again because he wants that building. And, Darkman's friend isn't there. I like Arnold Vosloo. I like the reporter. The one thing that got me is when she died,
yes, they blew her up. Damn you.
That really got me. And I love the buyers for the guns at the end. They're just so classic cliched. Like, I love those guys. Like those
skinheads, everyone's going to hate universally.
Neo-Nazis are awesome. But overall, it felt very much like I was watching a lesser version of Darkman. And it didn't do anything for me. It was okay. I don't hate it. It was just there for me, though. I honestly think that 3 was much better, and I'll talk about that later.
Yeah. All right, Charlie.
Wow, I'm going to be standing on a mountain all by myself over here. I fucking love part 2, man.
Awesome. I'm pumped up that you love it. I want you to love it because I want it to get more love than it's getting.
Honestly, until you guys brought up the fact that the natural progression as far as comic book logic and stuff like that is we need superpowers.
Right.
I never needed that because part 1 doesn't it, like Darkman is the only one with superpowers, and it's only because he can't. They take out his nerves, so he's always amped up on adrenaline. He can't feel pain, so it's not superpowers. He's just superhuman, more or less. So watching the second one, I love that Durant comes back because I always felt like that's the cliche for me. Of course, they're back. I don't need a huge backstory. Even in part 1, as a kid, you get to that end where you're like, wait, he survived that helicopter crash? Why is he out front of the building talking till it registers in your brain? Wait a minute, that might be Darkman, and he's setting up a trap. So you take that same logic and you go into this one, and you're like, okay, if I thought maybe he could have survived in part 1, then I'm okay with him surviving in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
I love Arnold Vosloo. Watching it today, getting to the last 15 minutes of Darkman where they really have nothing on Peyton's face. He is just Darkman, skinhead, everything. I went, that fucking looks like Arnold Vosloo without really squinting or anything. The casting of him is perfect. It's one of the few times I'm okay with a recast. It's like change my face. Maybe this. I do like that he has way more pictures of himself. I'm like,
I caught that too. I'm like, wait a minute.
And it took 571 hours, which I did the calculations. It was 24 days for it to put 2 pieces instead of just copy paste from the other side of his face, which is all it was doing. But no, this one started out with way more gore. It's way more violent. They weren't hiding you from it. It's a little bit of a rehash. It's another scientist. It's another building takeover. They're going to destroy that guy just like they did Peyton. Honestly, if you wanted to do that, there should have been, like the Darkman sidekick. And
Junior, Darkman Junior. Nightman or something. Darkman and Twilight Man or something.
Duskman, does that go across?
I like that better.
Duskman. Duskman. But I love the gun because you automatically know that someone's going to get hit by that laser later in the movie. I love Ivan, the Russian, probably my favorite. For the longest time, I thought he was the dude from The Mummy, the other, the warrior. And I was like, hey, no, it's not him. But forever, I thought it was him. I put part 2 just below part 1 because it brought the violence I wanted in part 1. It's unapologetic. It's just like, it's an R-rated Fox television show. You guys were perfect bringing up that Mantis and Viper and all these other shows that we grew up with later syndicated. Darkman 2 just felt right. And it's the cliche. It's straight to video. It's a sequel. You're getting less money. Just give them way more violence. Put a scene in the strip club, but no boobs, but get a little titillating out there for the boys and they'll enjoy it. It worked for me. I'm a mark for that stuff. And I absolutely love part 2. it's just below part 1 for me.
Anybody, any Super Force fans? I used to love Super Force.
Oh, with the motorcycle? Hell yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, if anything with Airwolf or motorcycles or anything with a vehicle, I was there.
Or
you know,
Nightman's good too. Yeah,
Nightman was good. Tropic Thunder with the boat. You know.
Yeah.
Was it Nighthawk? That was another motive.
Nighthawk was the other one.
Yeah.
Highwayman with the truck that turned into a helicopter.
The big rig.
That VIP show with your friend Pamela Anderson, who might.
I watched VIP. I'll tell you that.
The one. That's
VIP came on after Viper. I think it would be Viper and then VIP right after.
We're just 500 years away, guys. We're gonna do a stream 500 years away from
Cleopatra.
25.
That's for me. That's the untouchable one. You guys can enjoy all those other shows, but I'll just go in the other room and enjoy this one.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I'll break out the T-shirt for that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm gonna be the unapologetic. I really, really enjoy Darkman 2. I probably watched it as many times as I've watched the first one.
Wow.
And I love Larry Drake, man. He is to me a great villain, and Darkman makes sure that motherfucker ain't surviving again because he locks him in a bulletproof car and blows it up. I mean, it's goofy, it's zany, it's funny, and it's gory. Everything I love. So
awesome. All right, Ross, what'd you think of Darkman 2?
So I'm gonna start off with saying, just because I'm gonna make it sound like I hate it more than I do. I give it like a 6 out of 10. So I enjoyed it. I saw it when it first came out on DVD or actually VHS tape, I think it was.
Yep.
And I remember I saw it and I was like, it's all right. Because I really did like the first one a lot. I mean, the first one was really revolutionary to see that on the big screen with all the Sam Raimi-isms and the crazy photography. And I was like really into direct-to-video movies at the time. So PM Entertainment, Full Moon, Imperial, all those guys. And to me, like the direct-to-video genre, it's not really a genre, but let's call it a genre. Because when we say direct-to-video, you know why we all watch direct-to-video movies, right?
Yes.
It was the stuff that was like too dangerous for theatrical.
Oh yeah.
Too wild for cable in most cases. They were like kind of the punk rock. They were as comic book movies as you were going to get like in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, for Universal Studios to be putting out like a direct-to-video movie, especially a sequel to one of their theatrical films, is kind of like it's like you got ECW doing what ECW does. And then WWE tries to do like a cheap version, their cheaped out version of ECW. Right. So it's like almost like a Hello Fellow Kids version of that. So it looks like it looks like a PM Entertainment movie, but it doesn't, and it kind of has some of the same elements, and it's not terrible for what it is, but it doesn't have that extra car flipping explosion, and it doesn't have those extra boobs, and it doesn't have that extra broken glass that you would get from a PM Entertainment movie. And like with Arnold, and it doesn't cost any extra to do the Sam Raimi zooms and crazy photography and all that, but it just looks like it's shot like a kind of bland direct-to-video movie, the same kind of cheap lighting. It's the lighting to make the cheap sets look a little better, with the reds and the blues and the greens and all that kind of thing. Oh, okay, fine. And it's kind of like the bits and pieces of the Danny Elfman score spread out through kind of a generic direct-to-video soundtrack. Okay, fine. And then Arnold, I know you guys, I like Arnold Vos. How do you guys pronounce his name?
I don't know how to say it. I've been saying Vosloo, but Charlie is saying Voslo. I would probably trust Charlie's way.
Yeah.
I like him, but like even the way his role was written and all that, it's so dialed back. He's just kind of like this nice guy working in a lab, worried about like, trying to get his thing. And it becomes like this thing like, okay, he's doing it again. Then he does it again in the third movie. He's trying to get his thing to work, and then he gets frustrated and kind of like pounds on the table like any normal person would do. Liam Neeson, man, like he was like coked out of his mind or something when he was trying to look in the microscope. I got to get this to work. You know, he was just like fuck. Like when people weren't around, he was like fucking nuts and edgy and creepy and weird. And this guy was just kind of like I mean, maybe they did that on purpose to make him like a nice, relatable hero character, but. And then there was okay. So this is the elephant room, and you're going to hate me for this, J-Man. You're gonna
Pink elephant.
I'm trying to think of a way to work around it.
Hold on, before you say that, wait, before you say it, let me get RR super chat. RR, thank you for the $5, man. I really appreciate it. Take the fucking elephant. Darkman is not a great movie. You meant to say Darkman is a great movie. That's okay. It's a typo.
Yeah, it's a typo.
But a massively enjoyable one. That was correct. Saw it in the cinema twice. There you go.
That makes it a great movie. So.
That makes it a great movie. So, how about a Superman? How about a Superman? Thanks.
There you go.
Oh,
and hold on. Yep. And I'll give you the pink elephant. Thanks.
Oh, there you go.
There you
go.
And Pink Ranger smile. All right, thanks, RR.
No, it's Arnold Vaslu. It's Vaslu.
Okay.
That just sounds wrong.
I know.
I don't like it.
Sounds like a body part.
That's all. It's how it's pronounced. Apparently, it's a VAASLOO sound.
Vaslu. Okay.
It sounds like what the guy's going to tie up so you can't have babies.
All right, dude, Ross is going to drop
an adult.
so this is
Ross is going to drop a bombshell here. Let's hear it.
The part that you're going to hate. So. And I would be 100% down for a workaround.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the first movie, it's everything works because everything's kind of explained in a very shorthanded, exciting way. It's like he's got the bandages on his face. He looks like a cross between Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera. Got it. You can see his face underneath it. Got it. He's in the alleyway with the Danny Elfman score being all operatic in the rain. Happens to find an opera coat that looks exactly like a Phantom of the Opera coat. He must have been behind a theater because I don't even know a place where you could get one of those outside of a costume store, and a fedora, which at that time was hard to find, much less lying around in an alley someplace.
Yeah.
And then you get the iconic look, which he wears for the rest of that first movie. That's great, perfect, fine. But the second movie, they kind of needed to explain that maybe he became attached to that look or whatever, because like there's no reason for him to be wearing like nasty ass Browning bandages again in the second movie. Like he could have had like a Phantom of the Opera type mask. He could have just worn the weird, the skeletal burnt skin look and just gone without trying to put bandages on it.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like need to glow up the look a little bit by that time.
Well, you are correct. You did lose me. You're crazy. If he doesn't have the bandages, it's not Darkman. It's like in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Freddy had different gloves. Mm-hmm. They showed the table and he had different. There's ones with like spiky hands and like nails and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But it's like, it's the claw hand. Like, whatever. You had these other gloves. That's great. But you died with that one or whatever. So that's the one that you now wear. And that's your iconic look. Now, in Nightmare 1, he didn't have the stripes on the arms, which it's always irked me that later he had stripes on his arms, but didn't have in part 1 because now it's inconsistent. Right. I can't. My OCD I'd lose my mind. If you didn't have bandages, I'd be like, why? When Jason had the wrong triangles, like, I think it was like, part 8, it was the wrong triangles because he took the mask from that other guy. That irritated me the whole movie.
As a Canadian, only you would recognize that in a hockey mask.
Well, it was the wrong triangle. It was the wrong triangles, and it irritated the crap out of me the whole movie. I'm like, that's not the right triangles. Why does this look so weird? I don't understand what's happening.
I understand, but also, like in the Friday the 13th movies went from it wasn't Jason at all to he's wearing a sack on his head.
Which
so
I'd like that.
Movie, then it's the trademark hockey mask with the triangles that you want.
Well, they get rubbed off as it goes, which is fine. That can happen. But then they added them back. That's my problem.
Okay.
But so if in part 4, if he has the hockey mask in part 4, it's over. Like if he had a different mask in part 4, then he has a new mask every movie, right? But if he has it in 3 and 4, then it's like, okay, the mask is what his thing is now,
right?
Like,
and I think like with Darkman 2, they should have come up with like
something else,
a less ridiculous alternative to putting on the same mask. I mean, he's a scientist. Why is he putting on these clearly not sterile bandages again on his face? But
they're new bandages. They're new
they could have
bandages.
come up with something just as cool. I trust them. They could have come up with something just as cool and iconic and sustainable for what could have been a cool franchise. But this one, and also like Charlie said, there were. Now maybe he improved the process a little bit. In the first movie, it took like a month to make each one of those rubber masks, and in this one, he's carrying like 5 or 6 of them on him underneath his coat somewhere, because like he's like this guy, and then he sneaks around the building, and then it's like, oh, he's wearing the other guy's mask. And
I love it.
They do the mask under a mask under.
They did that in the freaking El Santo movie where they actor walking around and he's like got his facial expressions, his eyebrows moving, he's moving his mouth and everything, and then he pulls off the rubber mask and it's like the El Santo mask underneath. And I
love it.
The minute, but I mean the minute if you love it, I'm like okay with it. But the reason why there isn't a Darkman 4 is because Normie saw that shit and went like, yeah, I'm out.
No, I don't think so.
This is too goofy.
No, I don't think Normie's
funny like Sam Raimi would have made it.
Right. Okay. So I'm not throwing Steve under the Normie bus, but Steven occasionally rides the Normie bus.
So I am the normiest of the people
of the panel. Let's go.
Right.
So Steve, I knew exactly what Steve was going to say before he said I could have done Steven's bit. He walked into the video store. He's like, Darkman 2, what is this shit? Why is Larry Drake there? I'm not watching it. That's Normie.
Right.
The people watching Darkman and wanting part 2. The second I saw Darkman in the theater and walked out, I was like, oh, I can't wait for part 2. Let's go to Toys R Us and buy Darkman toys. It's like, no, Jason, there are no Darkman toys. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Why is there no Darkman toys? It's like, there's a video games. There's going to be comics. I was like, let's go to the comic shop and start getting some Darkman stuff. It's like, there isn't any. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. How can that be? Right? Like, I want Darkman 4 right now with Arno Vazlu or however you pronounce that guy's name.
Whoever.
Get him back for another one right now. Like, I always want another one. I want Friday 13th part 27. I don't want it to end. I always want another one. I don't want it to be, well, the actor's tired of it. Well, it's Darkman. He can look like different people. Now he's Bruce Campbell for a while, right? Yeah. Like you can, I think normies are like, that's stupid. Well, how's there a Darkman 2? That's stupid. This is the same thing with the people who say, oh, there should only be one Friday 13th movie because like Jason's dead. So how is he back? It's like, it was called The Final Chapter. I'm like, yeah, so what? Well, how is he back? Well, he's back because it's awesome. That's how he's back. That's the actual explanation for it, because he's awesome.
Right.
That's how he's back.
No, and I'm with you for all those things. They should have just dropped the line where he said like, hey, I got the mask making thing down to it.
Yeah, I can now do it in 5 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Same with the aliens.
He can just crank like now like explain like he can crank them out.
Yeah.
Or just like go full Batman, like this is what strikes terror in the hearts of villains. So that's why I wear the Phantom of the Opera coat and dress like a horror, something out of a monster movie or whatever.
Well,
I'm a freak. Yeah. I'm going to dress like a freak.
But he actually became a hero. One of the positives of Darkman 2 is that now it's not a revenge tale. He proactively is going out. Now he does want money, so he's stealing from the criminals to fund his little projects or whatever. So he is going out as a hero character in those bandages. I don't think he's wearing the same bandages. They're new bandages.
They get pretty gross looking, though. I mean, is he seeping? Because it looks pretty healed up. It's like
I don't know.
gnarly way, but it's like
it looks cooler if it's dirtier, I guess. Like any of the fake Silver Age randomness is 100% good with me. I like having it's like he's Darkman. Okay, he can make masks. Like I remember seeing Alien Part 1, one of my favorite movies, top 20, and it took about 100 years for that incubation to happen, right? And then I'm watching Aliens, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what is going on? Like by Alien 4, a face hugger grabs you, and then the next scene you've got a chest burster out there, and it's fully grown. Right. I'm like, that is not how that used to work. There was a long process. They had him in that. They had not Ash. They had what's his name, Kane. They got Kane back. There's a bunch of talking about should we bring him in, should we not? Then he's in the laying down for a long time. Mm-hmm. They're running tests. They're taking the thing off him. They get the thing off him. I'm fucking great. I'm good, guys. It's all good. Then it's the next day. They're eating food, and then now it's like alien. Right. It's like they can line these guys up and they start coming out. I'm like, well, how did that happen? So
last one was Resurrection, where they made that poor guy carry it the entire movie, and you're just like, it's gonna pop out of him. When is it gonna happen? That do it now, and they just drug it out.
That may have been too long.
I guess what I'm saying, J-Man, is like I'm actually so with you on this that if they just like explained it, if they had gone more Darkman-y with it. Mm-hmm. Instead of like just retelling the first movie with Oslu, and like took a step towards making it a horror superhero franchise, and explaining like, okay, I can make the masks faster. I'm doing this to be scary, and mm-hmm. I've discovered like my power is fucking with the villains' minds because I can become them. Blah 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 blah. So their fear is my weapon. Blah blah blah. If they'd gone more into that would have been better. Otherwise, it's just kind of like a cheap, and it's a big studio trying to be like a cheap punk rock direct-to-video studio.
Right. That is kind of what it ends up being.
Look, as the guy that, I know we're all not saying they hated it, but as the guy that actually loved this one, none of you are wrong on your criticisms of it. And I'm sure it would have been awesome. However, iteration, whether it had been a super villain at the end or you get a little bit more explanation of it, you're not wrong. It's just for some reason, and I know you're not like saying I'm wrong, but it's just like there's something about this one just struck me in a different way when I watched it and was just like, yeah, I like this. Yeah, this is just way more violent. I can overlook so much maybe that's wrong if you really want to get technical with it, but I'm just like I sit down and I enjoy it. So
sometimes a technically shitty movie will hit you the right way. I am totally that guy. You know?
Right. I don't even think it's that technical. So I did remember, there's still two me's. There's the me we're just talking, and it's not a big deal. I'm going to be like, the Darkman trilogy is awesome. Get all three. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like, then there's me, critically. So I would have given this a 6.5 out of 10 based on my space system for part 2. I legitimately would give part 1 a 10 out of 10. Yeah. I can't think of anything wrong at all in the slightest with part 1. Direction, art, story. I know the story is generic, but it's told in a cool way. The story category in my space system doesn't just mean the story, it means the plot. Mm-hmm. Like, how is this story unfolding in these 100 minutes or whatever? Pacing is obviously perfect score. Artistry of Darkman 1 is perfect. Music, shots, like the overlays that they're using, all the weird angles, the zoomings, all that. The action looks cool to me. I think it does look good. I just watched it on 4K on 65-inch TV, so I still think it looks pretty good to me. Yes, some parts don't look as good, but I'm not judging that as the artistry category. For that, characters are awesome. I love every character. I like Frances McDormand, that she's loyal to him. We kind of glossed over her. She's super loyal to him. She doesn't just drop him immediately, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to go back to you. And I like how even when he's talking, he's like, well, what if I was injured? She's like, well, what do you mean? I don't know. Like, you look fine. Like, all that is good. Part 2 would be 6.5 just because everything was just a 0.5 less. The story was a bit generic. The pacing was still good.
Yeah.
Like the pacing is still good on Darkman 2 because it's not boring and it moves along.
Every one of these movies is an hour and a half.
I mean,
this is just boom, boom, boom. No waste of time whatsoever.
Yeah, so I might be at a 7 maybe if I kind of retool my space on part 2 because the pacing is very good. The characters are still good to me. I like all the characters, and Larry Drake's back, and I like him. So what do you want me to tell you? And I still enjoy the hell out of it. So it's really just the story they didn't fulfill. I give it a pass for the story. Yeah, the story was okay. The characters, the highlights are the characters, the violence, the pacing. All of that is the highlights. But yeah, if you're talking just in general, I'll be like, yeah, Darkman 2 is awesome. Like that's why I want Charlie to say it's awesome because I don't want this to always be a technical. Because it's still a movie. Look, it's Darkman 2. It's straight to video. Yeah. Firstly, we've got 3 Darkman movies. That's a miracle because we only have 1 Rocketeer. We only have 1 Shadow. We only have 1 Phantom. We only have 1 Dick Tracy. We only have 1 Your movie. Where's the next? Where's the show? No more. We only have 1 Star Crash. We only have 1 Hawk the Slayer. We only have 1 Barbarians. I'm looking at all the movies on my background here. With the fact that we have 2 Schwarzenegger Conan, I wish if we had 3 Schwarzenegger Conans, I could literally be happy to say at least there's a trilogy of Conan with Schwarzenegger because I still love the Destroyer. Anyways, we got 3 Darkmans. That's awesome.
Well, there's the reason there's no second Your movie is because his son was named Whore in the comic book. So,
well, they could have just renamed it. It could have just been Your 2, and then he just continues on. All right, Darkman 3. Okay, so Darkman 3. Well, I really liked Darkman 3. And yes, the guys are all juiced up and then they kind of do nothing, so that's kind of dry. That's kind of crap. But Jeff Fahey, man, the second I saw his name, I was like, oh hell yeah! And okay, so the Darkman 3 that I had was this cover, and I just never even noticed that was. I thought I had seen it and thought it was whatever. So then I watched. I was like, oh yeah, shit! Yeah, Jeff Fahey's in this. And then we had B'Elanna Torres. I love B'Elanna. In Voyager, some people don't like her, and they're wrong. The people that don't like her, they're wrong. So that's fine.
I didn't watch any of the Star Trek sequels series. So I was
what?
Yeah. So I just thought,
wow, that's a super sin. That's outrageous.
Well, when Jeff Fahey appeared on screen, I was like, "Hi, I'm Jeff Fahey. You might remember me from such films as Everything PM Entertainment ever made." So.
And then in brackets, P.S. You'd have fond memories of that. But you gotta. So you never saw I've seen Deep Space Nine 7 times. There's 7 seasons.
I've seen maybe 7 episodes of Deep Space Nine.
I've seen Voyager about 4 times.
I've only seen a handful of.
Oh my God, guys, you're killing me right now.
I'm just not in series stuff at all. I mean, Cleopatra and Xena took an effort for me to.
Oh yeah. Well,
next Generation, I've seen 7 times. I've seen that.
So Next Gen is my weakest Star Trek.
That's one I grew up on. I cut my teeth on that one.
Look, and I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times over. Yeah. And that's my weakest one. So I'm not by far. I'm not saying it's garbage. Because my problem is that there's a few characters which I despise. Not despise, but I can't stand. But Deep Space Nine is the greatest thing that's ever happened on television, except for the original Star Trek, Blake 7, and Doctor Who. Other than that, it's the 4th best thing. And Cleopatra. Well, that is so obvious that's like saying Oxygen is the best. It's like, well, yeah, I guess Oxygen is the best thing. Okay.
I got it. I'll be right back. I'm listening.
All right, be right back. We only have 1 Time Cop, and yes, it's a comic as well. Yes, we only have 1 Time Cop.
We got a TV show of Time Cop, though.
We do have a TV show.
Yep.
So Darkman 3, this was like I felt like this was like there was a lot more going on. I got more involved with the character stuff too. When that woman was the evil, like when the doctor who operated on him came in, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then she betrayed him because she's like, well, I operated on you because I was a bitch and I was trying to get I was like, oh, they turned her into a villain. That's great. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, she's got that bitch haircut. I'm like, but she was kind of being nice. I was like, yeah, but the haircuts don't lie. I'm telling you, haircuts don't lie, man. It's guaranteed. It's a fact. I saw her haircut. I was like, you're a fucking bitch. I know it. But then she was really nice. It's like maybe she's on. I don't have my notes. I don't know where I put my notes. I actually wrote, I'm like, maybe the haircut lied. I said maybe they did. And then she turned. I was like, fucking A. I knew it. I hate that hair. Anyone who has it is bad. And I was like, damn it, she was bad. She was awesome. I like Roxanne Dawson. I liked her with the kid. And then like he becomes the father. He becomes Jeff Fahey, and it's like Face Off. It became Face Off took it, and then he's like, you start to feel bad. You're like, oh no, it's like this sucks. I'm like, this is a pretty cool. This is a really cool movie. There's still some good gore. There's still some like some in there.
Oh yeah, he rips that thing out of the back of his neck. That's straight up gore.
That was neat. And they did the thing where they found a weakness for the guy, so they comic booked it. Right? They're like, oh, how do we stop Darkman? Because he can't feel. They're like, it's like, how do you stop a man without fear? You put the fear in him. So it's like, how do you stop a man who can't feel pain? You make him feel pain. And I'm like, that was cool too. And like, he's like, yeah, doctor, this is great. This is all great. You're like, oh, bitch. And it's like, now we can fucking, we own you. And then that other guy's like pressing that button. It's like, shit, it's on the floor. I was like, oh, he took it out. You fuck. How do you like that shit? And the guy's like, oh no. I like Darkman 3. I was like really impressed by Darkman. And Jeff Fahey's like super pumped. His face is the best. Like one of the best faces ever. I saw Lawnmower Man in the theater. And when he's becoming like the bad, like when he was the loser guy. Lawnmower Man, the loser Lawnmower Man is a loser. I was like, this guy's like, when he was becoming the cool Lawnmower Man, I was like, oh. And like my mom took me to see Lawnmower Man in the theater. I was with my mom for that.
So who would win in a fight, Lawnmower Man or Darkman?
Oh, Darkman has to win because he's the hero. But Lawnmower Man's good. And when Lawnmower Man, he's getting the cool hair and everything, is like, oh shit, man, Lawnmower Man's badass. This guy's got it going on. And then Steve upset me when he's like, oh, it's not really the book. I'm like, oh, I was thinking this is the best Stephen King book there is. It's like this loser becomes this big pumped up guy with awesome hair, and then he kills everyone at the end. And he takes over the world. And I was like, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, damn it.
There's no way they could have made that story. There is absolutely no way.
Yeah, I'm going with the movie. I like the movie Lawnmower Man better, where he just takes over and all the phones ring. I was like, yeah, I was so happy with that movie. Anyways, Jeff Fahey's the best. His face is the best. I like Belana Torres. I don't know why she wasn't an engineer in this thing. That was kind of that was weird. And she didn't have her Klingon side. That was kind of weird too. But anyways, she has a kid now and stuff, and it's not with Tom Paris, so that was weird. But anyway. Otherwise, yeah, I like Darkman 3. I thought it was pretty. It's not as good as Darkman 1 for sure. I don't know what I would give it. I'll do it while you guys are talking. I'll think about my rating, but I really like Darkman 3. Jeff Fahey is a great actor. Yes, he is. Sean, what do you think of Darkman 3?
I like this one. I thought I saw it, and when I was watching, I was like, yeah, I don't think I've seen this. I thought I just cleared all the Darkmans, but I guess
me too.
So yeah, because I think this came out like maybe a couple months after, or maybe 6 months after part 2 on home video. I'm not sure, but yeah, Jeff Fahey has, I think, top billing on it. Is he billing?
Yes, he does.
It's like, it says with Jeff Fahey. It's like Darkman.
You almost think he's replacing Arnold Vosloo in this.
Yeah,
you look at the cover and see the top billing.
You're right.
I think the story is really good. There's a lot of layers to it and stuff. So for something that's a part 3, even though it was made before 2, I guess, it's really good. But the whole business of like wanting a super army of like superpowered punks, and then when they show the superpowered punks, they're just like, they look like kids playing at recess. It's like they're just like
they're Bebop and Rocksteady the entire movie. They're dumbasses,
WWE
a budget for them to kick someone across the room or something like that. Something cool like that. And then when they go and they crash that guy's speech, they're just like sort of, but you don't really see their super strengthness. I guess they're trying to shoot them or something. I think the movie is a victim of its budget, but that could have been like better. But beyond that, the writing of all the situations going on of like, and Fahey playing, as I said, Darkman version of him.
That was awesome.
His own asshole version. So great because you could recognize him.
Yes,
same actor. It's so good. He's all sympathetic around that kid, but then he's not when he's regular the bad guys. I love all that switching stuff of Darkman. That's the one unique quality of these that I actually look forward to see like the actors try and play the Darkman version and their own asshole self, right?
See, look, you could see she was a piece of shit. Right?
With the haircut.
Yeah.
The haircuts don't lie. Go back. I didn't just make that up. Go back through all of film history and you'll see. It's like any weird haircuts are like, oh, bad guy guaranteed. All right.
She has that look of Elsa from Last Crusade before she find out she's a Nazi.
Because I knew immediately. I'm like, oh, evil guaranteed for 100%. Haircut, 100%. It's never failed.
When they're that platinum of a blonde, forget it.
You forget it.
Bad guy.
Bad guy. All right, Sean, continue.
Yeah, I do like 2 better. I think there's more cool Darkman stuff in it. And I find when they fall flat on their face with the whole superpowered punks, I'm sort of like, I'm not very impressed by them. And I'm a little bit confused by it all. I mean, even Jeff Fahey doesn't really show his super strength much either. He drives that construction vehicle and everything, and then he gets ground up, and I'm like, I don't know, he's ground up. Is he good still? I don't know. You haven't really explained this, so and I guess he dies, so that's that. But yeah, I think this trilogy is solid. Like I think these 3 are awesome. And my thing about this, I don't know if Universal lost the rights to whatever Renaissance became or something. I don't know, but like I don't know why there's like a dozen Hellraisers to keep the copyrights of that, but there's like 3 of these. It's like they let this die right on the vine. They could have done a lot more with Darkman. I can devise like stories in my head watching these, and to have 3 solid installments here, especially like the first one. I don't know why this has faded over the 30 plus years that they debuted. It's kind of sad watching these movies. They're awesome, but I'm like, oh God, how come they haven't gone back to Darkman? I wouldn't want them to now, but I just don't know why it didn't continue in some other form. Right? Like they tried to make it work as a comic and everything too.
They did.
Anyways, I thought this is cool. I think 2 is better than 3.
I don't think the face swapping stuff would have worked as well in a comic book, because like you said, part of the fun is watching the actors try to act.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
And that gimmick gets old really fast. Like if in a monthly, it wouldn't have been that exciting, but like every however many months, like if they made 2 of these movies a year or something, that would have been fun.
Well,
I think you'd
have to do it like the Chameleon, where he wasn't in every every issue of Spider-Man, but when he did pop up, it's like, is that guy the Chameleon in this one? Is he not the Chameleon? I mean, that's about the closest.
Well, they put that in the cartoon. They put the belt buckle on him, so you can tell him the cartoon. Yeah, and then like they would do little things like sometimes they put like a little thing around his eyes. Like a couple of lines or something. Little tells, and you're like, oh, that's not the real guy. Or
No, I hate that in cartoons where it's super obvious who the imposter is. Like, I hate that. Well, I'll say is I hate that episode of Inspector Gadget where the evil Inspector Gadget had like a big metal jaw. It's like, there's the bad guy there, asshole. Like, he doesn't look anything like that hero. Anyway, Anyway.
Yeah, I hate when people are confused and you're like, that's literally not him. It's like, why are you confused? Yeah. All right, Steve, Darkman 3.
So before I start on that, I just want to say you do realize that you're just criticized the logic in a show where the dog was the main, like, he was always a freaking agent of Mad. Like, Inspector Gadget, arrested his dog every frigging episode.
Yeah. They couldn't tell that the dog was not a human. It's like
I mean,
it's like
I remember the discovered Jaw 2 of the Evil, and I get what you're saying, but like he arrested his dog every.
Yeah, I know.
I gave up on when you do that, everything else is out the window. Anyhow,
I have this theatrical poster, the one sheet, proper. I don't know why I got pumped up for Inspector Gadget. I had the big one as a kid.
Cartoon. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was all right. Anyways, we're gonna have to do an Inspector Gadget.
Oh God!
All right, okay, continue on. Stevens.
Yeah, I thought 3 was much better than 2. They took more chances. if you want to make something instantly better, you put Jeff Fahey into it, because that's pretty much a guaranteed making it better for me. Jeff Fahey, I remember him when I first saw him. He was in one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called Silverado, which had an excellent cast, and he was one of the main villains, or one of the secondary villains. I always remember he was such a piece of garbage in that thing. I was so glad when Kevin Costner shot him. Anyhow, yeah, I thought this one was way better. They went out more and tried to actually tie it in more with the first one, in my opinion, and they sort of pursued themes that they didn't really do in the second one. Making the Doctor, because when I saw the Doctor in Darkman, I'm like, that's Jenny Agutter. Like, she's someone. Why?
Yes, that was awesome to have her in there.
Why is, like, there's a story here, I feel. And then, like, when I saw the third one, I'm like, well, they told that story, and making her a villain was genius. I thought that was such a great twist. Making her the mistress, and then he just so cold-heartedly kills her. It's just such a. I enjoyed that thoroughly, man. I loved the whole thing with him, with the daughter, and that going to the play and all that, because
that was awesome.
Sort of living the life he never got a chance to live because of the accident. And I just thought that was terrific. I love the fact I didn't like the disc part, because it felt kind of like, I know he's like, oh, the disc saved and all that, but then he just he just shoots it, and I'm like, you should have had some sort of a backup. I don't know. Like, I was a little bit thrown off by that. I was like, why did you allow all your hopes and dreams to be in that one thing? I get it. It's a movie thing, but it's sort of like, I was kind of like Peyton, with all the high-tech stuff you're buying, you couldn't have bought another disc. Like, seriously? But anyhow, that's
I think people in that time. So I've had computers from like monochrome monitor days.
Yep.
In the first, and you didn't. I know it sounds like that disc was the backup. Like, it's like,
yeah.
I totally. Yeah. It's a bad dating thing, because now it's like I've got backups like. Yeah. Whatever. Like this streams background. Like all my little animations that I do for you guys and stuff, I literally have that backed up like 4 times. You know what I mean? But like in that time, I thought that too. I was like, wow, this is so dated. Like, if that was my work, I'd have 17 discs. Like, like that disc is 3.5 megabytes. I mean, right? Like, that's nothing.
This is one of the.
Pull it out. I thought he was going to pull it out at the end and say, "Oh, I had a backup."
Right.
This is the one clue on where these should be flipped, because he's fighting so much because that's his only copy. But in part 2, he hands the other Doctor all of his research on multiple discs, saying, "Here's every." And I mean, it's not like anything's hiding, because he goes, "I tried your formula, and I swapped something, and now it's working." So there's one of the little cues on where they flip the release of each one of these.
Yeah, he made progress in part 2, which he lost in part 3.
Yes, very much so.
Anyways,
no, that's a good point. So I thought that was just using the actual liquid skin on the kid at the end was genius. I love that part.
That was cool.
Pretty much, I don't have many complaints. The disc thing was the only thing that threw me off. I was a bit thrown off by the plan as well, and Fahey died a little bit weird. I agree with Sean there, but those are minor gripes. I enjoyed Darkman 3 a lot more than Darkman 2. I thought they just tried something different, and it just tied in more with, like I said, like, I was traumatized by Darkman, what they did to him. So like with him trying to get back some semblance of his life, and then the heartbreak at the end that he still can't have it. I thought that was just so well done. So yeah. I would say if you want my rankings, I'd say Darkman's 10 out of 10. I'd say Darkman 3 is like an 8 out of 10. And I'd say Darkman 2 is a 6 out of 10. That'd be my.
I'm pretty much there, Steve. I'd probably give 8.5 to Darkman 3, and I'd probably give 7 to Darkman 2, because I'm kind of like just so pumped for Darkman. Then part 1 is a 10, like for sure. But all 3 together is pretty. And you know what? I'm so happy I know this, because I am going to watch. My next rotation is going to be 1, 3, 2.
Oh, that'd be good
that way. Yeah.
Because now that we're talking, I did not know any of this. I didn't research. I don't research anything for these streams. I just talk.
That's fine.
So I'm glad. No. And I'm glad. I like to learn. So I'm glad that you guys did research it, and I did not know this, and it actually answered so many questions, because I watched 2 and then 3 like in the same. Like I watched, Tuesday night I watched part 2, and then Wednesday night I watched part 3, and I was like, how did he lose progress? I'm like, he had more, and I thought the disc thing was weird too. I was like, well, I guess we didn't really have backups back then. Maybe okay, I guess that's a thing. But then I totally forgot that. Oh yeah, he had backups in part 2.
Yeah.
So that was and I didn't remember that. So I just thought I didn't remember it, and I didn't think it was a mistake either. So I just completely.
She baits him in with the DNA machine, and then in part 2, he talks to the guy, and the guy's like, "Hey, we need this one random piece of equipment." Yes. And he goes, "Don't worry about money. I've got that covered now." So it explains how he's figured out how to now, like, fuck it, I'll just take money from the bad guys. No one's gonna miss it. And so when you do it that way, you start seeing all the little like clues. Plus, I think it would be better if Larry Drake didn't show up till the third one.
Yeah, because then we could say he was in a coma, healing skin grafts
for a long time. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Skin grafts, and sir, we've managed to save the left arm. I told you to lose the arm. No, but like, they go through all that.
Yeah.
Right. No, but they could have gone through all of that. Right. All right. So Charlie, well, you liked part 2, and Sean thinks it's as good, and Steve thinks it's better. So I'm assuming you think it's really good.
Mine is 1, 2, 3, and it's not that while 3 is my, I guess, least favorite just as far as order goes, it's not by much.
Mm-hmm.
This does have the superior story. Jeff Fahey, good God, there's nothing bad to say about that man. My biggest criticism of part 3 is I lose one of my favorite things about part 2, and we kind of haven't talked about it or part 1 and 2, the henchmen. The henchmen are such a huge part of
right.
Larry Drake's crew. So in part 1, part 2, they have personalities. You got
Yeah.
Paulie, you got Smiley,
Yeah.
you got Rick, all these guys. Part 2, Eddie is recast, but Eddie's back from the first one. The one that he really makes that puts the girl in the cab and then tricks her to get back out. He is back from the other one. Part 3, there's no, like, his main right-hand guy is a throwaway character. That blonde looking dude, he doesn't do anything. I'm not scared of him. I'm not like, oh, I can't wait till Darkman takes him out. All of the guys that end up super powered, you guys nailed it. They fall on their face.
Yeah, they're terrible.
They're the worst super powered group that should have been holding their own, and the only difference should have been that they could feel pain and Darkman couldn't. That should have been the only separation of power to give Darkman that upper hand, because Darkman can get shot and die too if someone would actually hit him and he's not holding up a manhole cover, like in part 2, which I still fucking love.
That's awesome.
That.
Yeah.
But it might take
I have that
to realize he's badly injured.
Yeah, he could be bleeding out and not realize it. These other guys, they're going to be crying even though they're super powered. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that is the weakest thing, is the secondary characters, the supporting cast of part 3 really hurts it. Story-wise, though, my God, it is fantastic. The Jeff Fahey playing those 2 characters is, I immediately go to Face Off with John Travolta being the bad guy at the end, and now Nick Cage is having to be the good guy at the end of how they're reversing their roles. I'm buying it. I'm buying Peyton being Jeff Fahey when he's supposed to be that character wearing that mask. He sells it to me. Mm-hmm. He is a little, I think he's still below Larry Drake for me as far as a main villain. He doesn't go far enough, but man, he brings the insanity at the end.
Yeah.
I immediately went Lawnmower Man at the end of this when he loses his damn mind. I was like, oh, I definitely see that Lawnmower Man acting coming out of him. I like he gets thrown into the grinder. I was like, hell yeah, turn it to 11. And he's laughing as he's getting ground up. And I'm like, I like this. This is fun. But it is a way better.
They didn't set up the grinder before, though, did they? It's just kind of like
they did. It was a quick shot right before he falls in. I think something falls into the grinder, and then it's almost like 10 seconds later he knocks him unceremoniously into the grinder. Right. You're like, wow, why that's in that building, why there's no safety rails around that building, and why is it on when obviously the plant's not open right now. I mean, OSHA would have a field day inside. It's like Cobra with the river of molten metal running through the plant. Like, why is that there? That shouldn't be
there. There was no Temple of Doom scene where they showed, like, you know, the thing that the guy when they're fighting on the treadmill or the conveyor belt and all that.
Yeah, with the rock
kind of like set that up, like, okay, in an hour someone's going to get caught in that thing. So.
Right.
There was no foreshadowing, no Chekhov's gun kind of type situation in it whatsoever. So it's a little more unceremonious, even though I do like him as a villain.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I put this. Like, if we're going numbers, Darkman's 10 out of 10. Darkman 2, 9 out of 10. Darkman 3, 8 out of 10. Okay, I'll go 1 point down as it goes through. I'm still loving them. I'm still, like J-Man, super stoked that I have a trilogy of this made up character. I won't say fake character, but he is completely made up from Sam Raimi's mind. This is what I want to put out there. And he stayed on as producer for 2 and 3, and you feel it. Like, he had a voice in these. And I never feel like, oh, it got cheapened out because XYZ got a hold of it and they kicked Sam Raimi out of the room and he's not allowed to be a part of it anymore. You know, it still has the flavor. They still try to do the Raimi shots. Yeah. The up closes, the big wide eyes. But yeah, I like 3, but it is my 3rd favorite of the Darkman series.
All right, Ross.
Well, I don't want to drag it out too long. I like this one better than the second one for reasons already said, because they just dumped like a lot of stuff into the story. The whole little bit where like Jeff Fahey's like they set up the playing of the piano, and then his wife freaks out because she realizes that it can't be him because he wouldn't let the girl play the piano with him and all that kind of thing.
And I like that we didn't know that.
Yeah.
The audience didn't know that. So we just thought, oh, this is really cool. And it was her reaction. It's like, what's her problem? Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's her cue that something's off. And then it's revealed to us later. I actually thought that was cool because a lot of times they'll leave a trick for us, but they didn't do it, dear.
Yeah, but because you did see him playing it and because of the way he was acting, he had been acting when he was himself, it did make sense. It didn't completely come out of nowhere.
Right.
That one extra.
It's well done. Yeah.
Of it. So yeah, but and I don't know if it's because I was expecting the first one to be this is the first time I've seen it, by the way, for the stream.
Oh, awesome!
And thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Is this the first time everyone watched 3?
Yes.
Me? Yeah, I sort of skipped through the cracks.
Because I kind of saw the second one, and I said, it's all right, and I just never got around to it. But
that's wild.
I don't know if it was because, like, with the second one, I had been expecting more because it was like, oh, the villain from the first one's back, and he was one of the better parts of the movie, but it wasn't as good. It still wasn't as good. And you see Jeff Fahey, and you go like, okay, I'm watching a direct-to-video movie, cool, you know, and this is a good direct-to-video movie, doubly cool. But yeah, I mean, I still have the same problems with Vosloo or Vast Difference or whatever his name is. He's a little bland. I mean, he's okay. He's okay as a rebooted version of Dark. He's okay as the rebooted direct-to-video version of Darkman, but he's still not. All the things that they say about him, like, you know, he can't feel and he's edgy and he's insane and all that. I never felt that, like, watching him go through his things, except for when he's in peril and they do those cutaways to the, you know, adrenaline,
the flashback kind of looking thing.
Basically the stock footage from the first one with him stuck in it.
They just didn't do the cracks that I like in the first one where it shows his psyche breaking, the animation. They should have kept that going in all of the sequels. Right.
Although this one was this the one where it shows like her dressed up like as the Virgin Mary or something, and he becomes like this snake animated thing.
Is that stop motion snake?
Yeah, that was neat.
Is that Dreamscape that kind of did that before with the snake with the human head on it? Like, it's so out of left field for this movie. Like, Even caught me off guard watching it again today.
So just to answer this, Darkman 3 is actually supposed to take place before Darkman 2, but they just released them differently, so it's weird. So Darkman 3 could be the Empire Strikes Back.
They were, and it feels like they were gearing up to make it more comic booky with the henchmen and the explaining the underground transportation system and all that stuff. So it had a lot of cool things. It looked like it was going in the right direction. I think, to answer a question that came up earlier, I think this was like getting to be too comic booky. And for direct to video, I don't think at that time especially, I don't think comic booky worked as well. Like you could sell like 7 or 8 horror movies like Hellraiser. Easier because it was almost like an anthology too. They were kind of each was sort of its own thing. But like a continuing series of comic books, but they're not comic books. They're these direct-to-video movies. Probably not so much. Even the Nemesis series, each one became kind of like of its own thing.
They ended up being standalone movies.
They just called it
part
Nemesis
2 or something like that. Yeah.
3 and 4 of the Nemesis were just kind of like.
We had the girl Nemesis ones. Now we got to make her a girl.
Like BS Nemesis 3, BS Nemesis 4.
That's exactly how it goes.
Nemesis stories.
There's 5 Nemesis movies. I've got all 5.
Yeah.
And we have so many. So we're gonna do Nemesis.
I don't have Nemesis 4 for a reason.
And it's all your fault. It's your own fault. You need to get a better grip. Sean needs to get a better grip on.
Yeah,
but let's face the facts.
I would rather see 3 great Darkman movies. Well, 3 really a great and 2 solid sequels to Darkman than have it degenerate into something like what the Nemesis movies became. And
after part 2 sucks immediately.
Yeah.
Well,
2 and 3 are awesome.
Well.
Come on.
Oh no, God no.
Because you gotta allow for the starting point. Like Darkman's like up here. Nemesis at its best is like here. So if the next one,
I'm not sure about that.
This is a great example of low budget action filmmaking. It's one of the best.
I think your Nemesis
so
one
and creative. Like
I don't know. I mean, I start putting like the class of 1999 just above like Nemesis. So it's not as high as you're saying, but it's not low. It's close. It's in that.
Yeah, class of 1999 is awesome too.
Nemesis, if you want to do killer robots.
Well,
down there's a level of those.
Okay.
Oh, okay, fair. To be
fair. We listen. We can't pretend that Nemesis isn't the damn best.
I love Nemesis.
He's ripped off to hell. Him like shooting holes
big time.
That was ripped off by what's the name of that, Underworld or whatever?
Yeah, Underworld ripped. Yeah, we're watching that in the theater. It's like,
it's Nemesis.
That's Nemesis.
Because I love Nemesis. I was like, what the
hell? So do I.
Ripped off Nemesis. Like,
Nemesis. Okay, hold on. Darkman 1 and Darkman 2 and Darkman 3 are like this. So like Darkman 1 is clearly the best, and then 2 and 3 are like, well, I would like 3 then 2, but whatever.
I like them head to head, kind of 3 a little better, but I wouldn't fight anybody over it.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah. No, but Nemesis is here, and Nemesis 2 is off the screen. Like it's Nemesis absolutely
he's right there with it.
And Nemesis 3 is somehow even lower, and Nemesis 4 is in the I'm on the 22nd floor. Nemesis 4 is like 3 apartments down from Nemesis. Yeah. If Nemesis 1,
Albert Piano was like, we're going back.
I can't argue
it's
that.
Albert Piano, I'm trying to remember his name. Yeah.
Nemesis 4 is so bad that it's become its own planet, where like it's attracting it's like a source of gravity for other attracted garbage movies go to it, and then it's like The Room, and like it's like circular. It's like it's created its own solar system of bad movies.
I'll just say this one story. We have so many Nemesis stories. I'll say this one story. Jason's friend Jason is a big math guy, and so we showed him the scene where the main woman is like she's naked. And she's like curling or something like that, and she's interrogating this one guy, and the interrogation goes on and on. I don't know how long this guy's dying, and it's like, and so he saw what the runtime was, and then he was like, the magic number, guys, is 15 minutes. That means that it's going to be like I can't remember, 20 minutes. That means it's going to be 15% of this movie or something like that.
Yeah, like 15% of that movie is one scene where she's standing there and this guy's dying. And my other friend, who we don't name, he doesn't want to be named on the stream, he went to the bathroom. he went to the bathroom and then came back. He's like, guys, I told you could just continue watching. I'm like, we did. We haven't. He goes, we've been continuing it. We haven't stopped. Because we look at my place, bathroom breaks. So you take a bathroom break, we pause the movie. That's right. So he got up and he's like, it's okay. You don't have to pause it for me. It's fine. This is boring. He came back. He's like, why did you guys wait for me? Why didn't you just? I was like, we haven't. I said, we've been still watching. He said, it's been the same scene.
Now, have you guys seen? I think it's Strip Teaser 2 with my.
Oh my god! I saw the first one.
Are you talking? It's one of those. I think
I can't. I'm not going to put.
There's this tracking shot. This dude's giving this monologue on the stage, like the stripper stage. And he's like, the guy's holding up the hostage, and he's talking about his childhood and how fucked up he got and why he's bad and all that. And this tracking shot goes on, and it's like watching this one man play for about 10 minutes. And it's like, this movie's supposed to be called Strip Teaser. When's Maria Ford going to be?
That's all I'm showing.
You can't show it,
yeah.
I saw part 1, of course. I watched all of those.
Sure.
And it's bad. But
it can't all be like Recoil, where the first third of the movie is one action chase.
Oh yeah.
All through the movie, and it's like 20 minutes long. It all can't be great. It can't be great. Like that.
We're gonna do the Nemesis movies, and we're gonna see if, because Steve has never. I don't think Steve has seen. You see part 1 maybe.
Yeah. Give us.
We have to do all 5 in one stream.
All 5 in one stream.
If you watch all 5, you will lose your mind.
You gotta give me 3 weeks. Like we can do other movies in between.
Sure.
But between now and the whatever date you want to do that, because there's no way I'm going to sit there.
You got to warn us. It will be like Nicolas Cage in like that 8mm.
Yeah. Especially for those last ones, man. Because I love you guys, man. I will never fast forward through a movie. I'll watch it in real time, even though Nemesis 3 and 4 deserve that.
Are they on YouTube so I can do like 0.15 speed so I can just get through them a little bit?
Yeah.
No.
You
I've seen them already. I don't need to relive all of it.
No.
I was sick and dead tired, and I kept falling asleep during the Darkman sequels. And I went back to the point where I left off.
You're okay. Hold on. Are you crazy? You can't do the Darkman sequels, and we're talking Nemesis. Forget about it.
No.
You're not going to make it.
Sick and I'm tired. I just need like an extra week or so because it's like 5 freaking movies, not just 3.
This
is 12 movies.
Yeah. You might need,
and the Darkman ones are pretty good, so it wasn't less of a problem. Nemesis, I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be our face.
You might need 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. Joel Schumacher. So if you go to Wikipedia, Joel Schumacher said that he was showing Nicolas Cage Nemesis 4 to get the reaction that he needed. It's on Wikipedia. Check it out. You can, if you don't trust me, listen. Don't trust me. Check the for yourself. Check the facts.
Right.
But man, okay. No. Next week is Doc Savage.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
With Scott coming on for that. I definitely would like to. We mentioned some other ones here and there. I wouldn't mind doing some of these other, maybe another verses in a bit, like, and do something like 2 fun ones like that, like that are kind of similar. I don't know, like
Rocky 1 and 2.
Rocky 1 and 2.
But those are
those
I
are
wouldn't call those adventure movies though.
what about
Oh, okay,
what?
no.
I was thinking, what about if we did King Solomon's Mines and Alan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold?
Something
Yeah, I
like
thought
that.
we were gonna do that.
Yeah, I want to do
Yeah,
those
They
two.
were on the docket
All
at
right.
some point.
Yeah, they were on the
Yeah.
docket. So I don't know how many. I mean, I'm going to rewatch them because I do enjoy watching those. I don't know if you guys. I can share them with you.
Please share them. Please share.
But Doc
Yeah,
Savage is on there right now. If you got now, I
Savage,
like
bought
Doc
the
Savage.
I bought the Warner Brothers
I've got the Warner. Yeah.
DVR disc redo of that. Yeah.
Did we do Raiders versus Doom? Did we do that?
Well, let's think. Here, hold on a second. Let's do. Well, if we can go to. Let me see what my channel says.
It feels familiar to me. But
I think we did the first. I think we just did all Raiders of the Lost Ark.
We just did all the Raiders. We just
We
did them
did
all
all
as
of them,
one
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Then we ended up bitching about the last one for an hour.
See, I lost.
couldn't do that one. I hadn't seen the newest one, so
I lost a subscriber. I had 2102, and now because we all said Nemesis 4 was so bad, we lost someone who was a Nemesis
Oh,
fan.
yeah.
just
Derek.
Nemesis 4 sympathizer.
Or watch this.
Yeah, no, it was a Nemesis 4 sympathizer. You're right.
you got the one fan of that movie.
If you guys, I like Nemesis 4. What are you talking about?
did they literally say that was why?
No, I'm just. Anything I say is a lie, pretty much.
Which means he loves Nemesis 4.
Dude, it's the internet. Anything is possible when people will just like rage quit for stupid stuff.
Okay, so here's what we've officially done for days. We've done John Carter. We did Sean and I did Thongor, the books and stuff. We did Phantom. We've done Fire and Ice. We did Transformers, the animated movie. Sean and I did, and we did. I don't know who else was on with us, but we did Conan with Jason Momoa.
Right.
Do you know how many views that has?
How many?
10,681.
What?
Momoa sells, boys. Momoa sells.
Wow.
And all these guys thought, I didn't think it was that good. It was okay, I guess. Well, 10,681 people thought it was pretty damn good.
Or is that Conan? I don't. Yeah.
Well, so after that we did G.I. Joe, the animated movie.
Oh man.
We did Return to Oz.
Wow.
We did Tarzan, The Legend of Tarzan with Scott on that one.
Scott, yeah.
We did Red Sonja and Hundra. That's got over 400 views. We did Conan, the two Conans, Schwarzenegger, and that has over 400 views, almost the same as Red Sonja and Hundra, actually. Pretty interesting.
What did some of the other ones that were not? I mean, aside from Momoa Conan, what were you getting before? Like,
so 132.60. Thongor got 400.
Wow.
So the next one after that was the Indiana Jones. Now we're into the all of us together. So Indiana Jones got 239. Dick Tracy got over 100. Tarzan and the Lost City got close to 300. But Zorro got 850.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think Scott was sharing some of that stuff on his Edgar Rice Burroughs groups on Facebook.
He was doing that. That's why we need Scott on here.
Yeah,
we need Scott to share this stuff.
Because
he's like a legit. He's a real person. We're just fake it. We're just AI people.
No, he needs someone more than that your schlub that.
I can't pass a CAPTCHA, so it's fine. It's all right.
Yeah, no, yeah. You know, okay. I'll tell you a secret. You know that I'm not a robot, or whatever. It's just looking how fast you click it.
Yeah.
So if I click it too fast, I'm a robot. If I have to read it 3 times and go, "What the fuck does that say?"
Like it's testing your mouse movement to go to it and click it.
It's not those I struggle with. It's like how many pictures have the lamppost in it, and there's a tiny little corner. One of them, and I'm like, do I have to click that one because it's
tiny
in there?
corner counts too. Yeah,
is it in there? Yeah, so
I had to
do
do
a little part of the
gets me every
motorcycle
time.
that's like that big or something.
Yeah, it's the
and
tiny
there's
little
like
piece.
a tiny bit of the handle comes out to this square. It's like you gotta tap it, man.
Yeah, look at these whiners, guys. Like I can't do it. It's like,
Tell her the
No,
boomers
man.
are.
It's a test if you're a robot, not if you're an idiot.
that was
I feel like it's an idiot test after.
Yeah.
you ever see what was that guy's name? It's like he's a comedian and he's like got a funny accent. And he's like he goes, they keep saying that computers are taking our jobs, and he's like, and he goes, I was out of work and I went to search for some work, and I went to one of those websites where you can get a job and you can apply to jobs, and he's like, the first question they asked, are you a robot? Really? It's like they're taking our jobs. It's just the way that he tells us because he's got the accent. I don't want to make fun of the accent, but he's like, the first question is, are you a robot? Oh,
like a Yakov Smirnoff kind of accent.
I don't know what his name is. If you just say I'm like the robot joke guy, you can find him. All right, folks, we're done. So Charlie, what's going on your podcast?
We just did our 200th episode of Big Trouble in Little China for the podcast, which was a lot of fun. B Action just dropped the Guyver 2 Dark Hero.
Yeah,
Dustin's birthday pick. We had a ball with it. And next week we're covering Sisu from 2022.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Excellent. Killing Nazis. It's awesome
stuff.
Yep.
So Steven, what do you got going on? What do you got going on?
I got to finish up a bunch of stuff for Antarctic Press. The comic industry's not in great shape right now, so I'm kind of like,
what?
Oh,
nothing.
Anyway, so I'm just kind of like rolling things up and seeing where the future goes. Oh, thanks.
That was me.
I heard a rumor that Todd McFarlane might be buying Diamond, so
wow,
we'll see. That's just a big rumor.
All right, Steven 2, or whatever, top quarter Steven.
So I just put up a review of The Substance.
Yes, I saw that.
J-Man yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
To be seen. Yeah. To be seen, to believe, to be believed. I'm not going to spoil a damn thing about it because even if I wanted to, I don't know how I could. Anyhow, so I put that up. I'm watching all of the Friday the 13th, so I'm going to do a Friday the 13th retrospective for the movie.
Ooh.
When I get through all 12 Fridays.
Which versions are you watching? How are you watching them?
So I have the Blu-ray set that Scream Factory put out years ago, so I'm watching it off that. So I watched the unrated Friday the 13th as my first.
I think there's some special features on there where they're doing like these BS scientists or BS psychologists who are psychoanalyzing Jason as a special feature on them.
Might be. Yeah.
So one of the guys who plays one of the BS scientists worked in our receiving department at my bookstore.
Nice.
So he's not a real scientist? How can he evaluate someone if he's not?
He's a big horror fan and a screenwriter, and he was a huge Bond fan. I'll tell you guys later if we talk about Bond movies, but he went on this James Bond tour of England where he went to all the sites where they took all the publicity stills and stood there and did the poses that the actors did.
Oh my God!
Nice.
That's how big a dork he is.
The real
was.
Yeah. Sean, what do you got going on?
I loaded a Marvel Toon 1 #2 video on Friday. And yesterday I loaded a CBS Saturday morning lineup of 1977 video. Today I loaded a video of the Joker Hostess fruit pie commercials.
I saw that.
So that's up on there now. And throughout the week, I have new comic reviews coming and Marvel Toon 1 #3 on Friday and more to come. So stay tuned.
Nice.
Marvel 2 in 1. I love it.
Yeah, you've cornered the market on the Hostess fruit pie reviews.
I don't know why no one's doing that.
All right.
Well, there might be one reason.
Let me know when you get to the Ninja Turtle ones. Then I really want to.
I do like those Hostess things are good, but it's we're trying to. Everyone's like it's making people hungry and gain weight and stuff. So it's like a bad. It's like no, everyone's scared to do it. I don't know. I'm just joking. I'm just saying anything. I have no idea.
Saying Big Sugar's got a control over who's finding out about what.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can't do it. All right, folks. Tomorrow, Sean and I are doing episode 81. Man, 81 weeks of Legion of Superheroes. Somebody's like, oh, did you even read any of the Daredevil comics? I'm like, well, I have 30 hours of Sean and I blabbing about Frank Miller's Daredevil, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, we. And then one goes like, did you read this? I'm like, yeah. I said the only I didn't read every Daredevil comic there ever was. No, I didn't do that. But I read the Frank Miller ones in the first 30 of the real series, and some of the Mark Waid, and some of the Charles Soule. What are you gonna say, Sean?
Yeah, you just go, no, not yet, and that's where you leave it. You just always leave it on. I haven't yet.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I used to hear these Legion fans bitching about, like, the direction of the Legion and how, like, DC Comics didn't understand them, and I was like, oh, whatever. I don't know, right? Now we've read over 250 Legion comics, and it's like now I understand. It's like now in the next few I'll probably do super rants about like what in hell were they doing with this franchise. But anyway. Yeah,
I mean, I read one for the first one we're covering tomorrow. I have no idea what's going on.
It's too dense. I don't know why there's only one monthly installment for something that had a 7-issue Who's Who series.
Right.
It doesn't. Why not spin them off anyway?
Yeah, we'll get to it tomorrow. But yeah, issue 1 of tomorrow's. I'm like complete. I read my notes. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah,
I'm like Element Lad. Is he the leader? I don't even know if he is.
I still don't really know.
I don't really know. I'm hoping there's people in the chat that know tomorrow. That's our biggest show, guys. For you guys who don't know, like that's our biggest one. Like we have massive people for that one, and the chat's like constant because they love Legion. Wow. And people will be like, go back to this page. Here's what happened here, and they're running the stream. Like last week, the chat ran the stream. I'm like, what is happening?
I'm really surprised by it. Well, I'll tell you what.
Legion has people are not happy that I can't do anymore. It's like we would have done almost 300 appearances in a row. Like we started with not just number 1. We started every time they appeared in a comic. We did it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Until their series, and then
their series, but they were also in DC Presents.
We've done every appearance.
Yeah, and side appearance. Karate Kid had his own offshoot series, covered all of that.
We did that whole thing. Yeah,
it's insane, man. I've read 300 Legion comics from the beginning.
Wow!
So, and someone's gonna be like, "You don't know what you're talking about." I'm not sure about
that. I'm gonna come to you if I ever need a Legionnaire question.
So you're never gonna come to me. You're never gonna need one.
I'll tell you when you guys are done, maybe we could do Femforce from the beginning.
Femforce, yeah.
And then you get a bunch of 60-year-old guys like on your ass for not knowing what you're talking about.
That's not what happened in this issue. All right.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Legion, man. Take it easy.
Hey, friends. You've just been listening to J-Man. And he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.